Hoka, hey Alita Army. Welcome to the Alita live stream of January the 28th, 2022. How good is Alita as a motorball player? Where we discuss all things to do with the movie Alita Battle Angel, the source manga Gundam, and the greatly desired sequels. I am your host, the Muskogee Creek, and we are going to have some folks on, I promise. There's only 3 of you out there now, but that's okay. We'll get started on this pretty quickly, I guess. One of the things I guess I did want to talk about, certainly before the Radio Chaos stream tomorrow, which is going to be a good one, by the way. It's going to be, kind of a comparison or how Rollerball itself how Rollerball with the 1975 movie influenced Yukito Kishiro, in putting together the movie Alita Battle Angel, or at least putting together the Motorball part of it in the manga itself and in the movie. And we have joining us is Alejandro Camago. How's it going, Alejandro? Buenos dias.
Buenas tardes por acá en Colombia.
Yeah, cool. So how are things down there in South America?
Well, with some problem, but we are going.
You're making it happen, right?
Yes, sure.
And just joining us is Max Tack from, like I always like to say, near Sydney in New South Wales, Australia. How's it going there, Maxie?
Okay, hey, Alita Army. To borrow a phrase.
Somehow it sounds weird when you Aussies say that, but I'm good with it. So how's everything down under?
Oh, a bit warm and sticky, middle of summer down here.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we got like 4 inches of snow outside. Well, it's not quite that much now. A lot of it's melted. We had a big snow or not a real big snow, but a significant snow yesterday, I guess it was. So anyway, I guess Angelus, I don't know if he's going to make it or not. He works weird hours, and Dan said he would try to make it, and I've invited a couple other folks. So anyway, what we want to talk about is, Alita's talent for playing Motorball, and as Maxie, as I was telling everybody that was on, guess who this is? When it says Alita is the best waifu, it can only be one of two people. It's either Angelus or it's Den trying to punk us. Which one is it?
He always says that. Yeah. I recognize his breathing.
Yeah, not only that, he forgot to unmute his mic, so I knew it was him already. So how's it going, Angelus, or Alita is the best waifu, which I agree with, of course. He's from Brisbane in Queensland, Australia. How's it going there, Angelus?
Better than I was 10 minutes ago. Woke up like absolute Nova, but now the nanobots are kicking in. And, yeah.
You get that coffee?
Yep. That's cool. Pretty much what's helping.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we were just saying how you worked weird hours, and we didn't know if you were going to make it or not, but we're glad you're here. Angelus is the co-host of this stream. He and I both jointly kind of responsible for doing that. And of course, Maxie helps out a lot. So, and of course, Alejandro's been a regular too of late too. He's been on here several times. So that's good. Anyway, like I was saying, we want to definitely talk about Alita as a Motorball player. Particularly before the Radio Chaos stream tomorrow, it's going to be different than this. It's going to be, how Motorball was influenced by the movie Rollerball from 1975. And there are definitely there's some similarities and there's some pretty stark differences, but, pretty cool. But here we're going to just talk about Alita, in terms of, what a surprise, in terms of her Motorball skills. So. First of all, with Motorball, of course, it's, you can have the game can be played a couple of ways, either between individuals or teams. And I think if a game or a match actually, boils down to two competitors, then it's called a duel, I guess, from what I remember in the manga. I don't know if any of you three remember that, but I think that's what it was called, was a duel, wasn't it? From what I remember. So. But anyway, there's 4 leagues. Actually, there's actually 3 leagues that are, I guess you could call them professional, or at least the 3rd league would be a semi-professional league. The 2nd league would be like the minor leagues, like here in American baseball, we have minor leagues and major leagues. And of course, the Champions League is going to be like the major leagues, And of course, the Sandlot League is just basically an informal, kids playing in the in the street and that sort of thing. So
Is that
a
why they
lot.
call it Sandlot Kids? The movie.
Yeah, that's right. Baseball and football here, American football here, well, even soccer, I guess. Where kids or players just play on a field somewhere. They just call that sandlot, and it's actually started out as a baseball term. Kids playing out in the yard, or out in the field. They just called that field a sandlot. And beyond that, I don't know what that means. I know I played sandlot baseball, for a while, but
do you think, Creek, this would be the same of the scrimmage, the Sandlot League?
yeah, it'd be like the scrimmage in the movie. Exactly. That would be, matter of fact, that is in Motorball, that is, or in Alita Battle Angel, or Battle Angel Alita, rather. I think they did call that in the manga the Sandlot, is all basically. But yeah, it's a kind of an informal amateur kids just getting together and playing motorball. It's kind of like what Hugo said to Alita. Every kid's got to play motorball. That's basically all that is. There's, the kids are just doing it for fun. They don't get paid for it. And of course, I guess there wasn't really that many kids in the movie version of it. There were, kind of young adults playing that thing, but that would also be called Sandlot. But yeah, that's right, Alejandro. That would be considered in the manga. That'd be called Sandlot.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. And of course, sorry about that. I kind of got running my mouth about that. So anytime I talk about Alita, I kind of run my mouth a lot, so that's the way it goes. What a surprise. Anything you guys want to add? This is a pretty brief slide here, but there'll be a version of this slide tomorrow, I guess. Say Maxie or Angelus or Alejandro, anything you want to add to this?
I don't think there was a third league in the movie. I think there was only 2 leagues. Yeah,
there was only 2. Well, only 2 they mentioned for sure, But yeah, I think the third league, I think you're right. That was just in the manga, I think.
And I think mainly they took the extra league out because they didn't want to have more Motorball players.
Yeah, that plus you got to spend
a lot of expense to animate all of those guys.
Well, not only that, they got to explain it too, don't they? They got to present it, and that'll take video time and stuff like that. What was you saying, Angelus? I didn't mean to talk over you.
Pretty much what you just said. The fact that it would take up too much screen time to even have like the tiniest of expositions explaining or even retconning.
Yeah, that's right. Because I know I think what the original version was like nearly 2.5 hours, I think. And then they chopped out a bunch of it. I know Raul Gola has some, deleted scenes on his YouTube channel, which is pretty cool. I like that. Particularly the scene where, Rosa, is, I guess Keenan Johnson was on his back, kind of like in that, in the novelization where she goes around and he tries to hit her with some kind of bat or whatever it was, and she shatters it.
It was a 4x2.
Yeah, 2x4. Yeah, that's right. Or 4x2, whichever one you want to call it, whichever way you want to measure it.
Whichever way you want to swing it.
Yeah, that's right.
Get it?
Yeah, that's right. So, by the way, what would a 2x4 be in meters, metric? I mean, what would that be? I'd have to think about 2.5 centimeters per inch. So that'd be a 5x10, I guess, something like that, maybe.
Well, the fact that, sorry, Creaky, but bloody
sorry.
Americans in the imperial system have a third unit of measurement in yards.
Yes.
Like you got feet and inches, which is bad enough to sort of keep track of, but you had to chuck in yards in there as well.
Yeah, yard being 3 feet. Yeah, exactly. Whereas instead of making it like the decimal system, right? Like in metrics, in the metric system, it's kind of like a thing or scaled up by 10 or 100 or 1,000, whatever it is, but no, we don't do that here in America. We like to complicate things, I guess. So
Sure, I think it's more simpler in kilometers and meters and
Yeah,
kilograms too. And I think the manga is using the same MKS system, right?
yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Sure, sure.
I don't remember.
Okay, so a 2x4 timber stud in the US is the original dimension before planing. When solid, it is 1/4 inch less on each side, making it 1.5 inch by 3.5 inch. In metric countries, this is sold as a 38 millimeter by 89 millimeter timber, literally the same dimension to the nearest millimeter.
Yeah, well, that was close. We're screwed up in a lot of ways. We call things a 2x4, but they're not really 2x4s, are they? They are less than a 2x4. So anyway, that's us.
Well, we used to have 2x4s back before 1966. It was imperial measurements in Australia, so that's where I got the 2x4 from, because my father used to call them 2x4s.
Ah, okay. And of course, we over here have 4x4s and 6x6s and stuff like that. So for real substantial, kind of pieces of lumber.
The chunker 2x4 was the one you'd always swing in a fight because it was the most convenient to hold in the hand.
Yeah, it'd be hard to swing a 4x4, I guess. Not that it'd be that heavy. I mean, not bragging, it wouldn't be that heavy to me, but I mean, wrapping your hand around that thing, would be probably difficult, because you figure around it and you measure all the way around, it's 16 inches, so that, I don't have a 16-inch size hand, so that would be kind of difficult, Okay, well, anyway, that's it for Motorball. That's a really simple, kind of setup. I mean, the way the game is played, I'm not going to go into the game too much because I want to save that for tomorrow. But basically, the players have to get that motorball, and they got to skate across the finish line with it. I mean, once they skate across the finish line, that they get X number of points, or they win, or whatever it is. I think they get points while they're playing too. I mean, I think if they take the lead with a ball, they get a point. I think something like that. And then, of course, they tally up the number of points at the end of the match.
There's two different scoring methodologies depending on the arena and the game mode. So there's hoops which you go through, that are large things that are over the track. And if you're holding the motorball, when it goes through past that hoop, you score a point. Yeah. The other methodology is whoever's carrying it at the end. Now, that's usually used for team games. Mm-hmm. So whichever team carries the ball across the line after X number of times around the circuit is the winner. So, and I guess they just do that because, in individual games, it's easy to rack up points. And then in a team game, it changes the whole strategy to be the one carrying it across the line.
Yeah, and we saw in that street game, in the movie too, the goal there was to put the motorball in the goal. So that was even another way. But that was basically the Sandlot League, I guess, and that would probably had a whole bunch of different rules that were informal. I guess kids most likely just wanted to skate in that game, so.
And break their arms and stuff and have them replaced with cybernetics so they can become more like the track champions.
Yeah, exactly. Or get their skates kicked out from under them like Tanji and do a forward flip or a back flip rather, and land on his stomach while Alita puts the ball in the goal. So they can do that too, I guess. So
I don't know what possessed him to be such a dick. I mean, really.
It's in the script, Maxie.
I know, but
yeah, if you look at it,
somebody introduces you to a TR cyborg, you might have a problem with them, but you also know that they're a lot harder than you are.
Yeah, and they're stronger than you are, and they're faster than you are,
and more ooh than you are.
Yeah, and they get more ooh than you too, particularly in this case. So, yeah, absolutely. So,
I mean, sure, you can be an arrogant CUNT, but you also got to use your brain and realize that you're going to cop it back. Calm as a bitch. Just ask Nova.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, what goes around comes around. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But you saw him pushing Koyomi around as well. He shoved her off her skates.
Yeah, he did, and took the ball from her, didn't he? And I guess it was sort of clear in the movie that, I guess it was sort of clear that Koyomi and Tanji were like, an item, because there was that one scene at the end where Alita, is going, she's just got her berserker body and she jumps from the top of a building onto the street, and if you caught this, I mean, if you see the movie like 50 times or whatever it is, I mean, it took me 40 something times to catch this, but there was that one little thing in the back when Hugo is facing Alita, and if you look behind them, you'll see Koyomi. She smiles when Alita kind of jumps down and Hugo goes over to her and stuff like that. And if you look in the back, you'll see Koyomi smile and reach her hand out to Tanji like she's going to put her hand on his shoulder, as if to say something like, yeah, I approve of this, which would be kind of like what a girlfriend would do with a boyfriend, that's, shows that they kind of confirm, that they like the relationship that they're seeing or something like that, whereas if they were probably just friends, I don't know if she'd have done that, but next time you guys look at the movie, and I'm sure all of you on this stream are going to look at this movie more times than not. But anyway, look in the back there when Alita first jumps down and Hugo goes over to her. You'll see in the back, you'll see Koyomi reach out her hand to put her hand on Tanji's shoulder. So be on the lookout for that. So,
well, if you go by what the novelization says, they were all just close friends.
Yeah.
In fact, there's a moment there where Tanji and Hugo are being quite close, like bromancy kind of thing, and Koyomi tells them to get a room. So.
Yeah, that's right. So, and from Tassie, near Hobart, Tasmania, that is, we have our pal Diz. Hoka hey, Dizzy.
Hoka hey, brother.
Yeah.
Oh, g'day, Diz.
Yeah, good.
What's going on?
Yeah. Oh, not a whole lot. How are things down in Tassie?
Another day, mate. Just killing it, living life. It's pretty good.
Oh, yeah, it is. Cool. Well, it's good to have you on, Diz. Yeah, we just wrapped up here talking about Motorball in general terms, because we need to talk a little bit about the game because, Alita's playing the game. And tomorrow we're going to go into it in a lot more detail. So, but, we want to make sure that, folks, kind of have a base. Of course, everybody on this stream probably knows about Motorball already, but just give them a little more thorough understanding of the game itself, And of course, this is where we're going to be concentrating right here because Alita, played. Now she does win the second league. And, when she goes out, at the end of the movie, when she kind of skates out, to be out amongst the crowd, in the big arena, that, or the stadium, a mega stadium, I guess. She's officially at that point, she's in the Champions League because she won the second league and now she's got her shot, but, we're going to be kind of concentrating on her in the second league right here, except at the very end, I think that guy got something in there about the Champions League for her. So,
well, in the manga, she never actually plays in the Champions League.
Yeah, exactly. That's right.
She's in the second league when she challenges Jashigan.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, in the movie, though, it's different, I guess. So, well, I guess in the movie that technically was actually not a second league game, was it? It was just a tryout. So, yeah. But,
she was trying out for the second league.
Yeah, that's right. But, you got the feeling that at the end of the game, because of what the announcer said, that she's moved her way up through the ranks of the second league in just a few months, so you get the feeling, yeah, she played several matches in the second league, in the movie, But you're right, Maxie. In the manga, I guess she's not played a second league game yet. I think there was a scene though when she wanted to get her and Adjicutty, did that kind of little one-on-one thing, and Adjicutty said, "Okay, I'm going to let you have that 99 because you're going to kick my ass if I don't let you have it." So, and they kind of, went from there. But
he was completely prepared to fight her for it, and he was giving it all he had. It's just that when she got serious, he was rooted.
Yeah, he was no match for her. Yeah, and that kind of. That kind of sealed the deal for him, So,
but it's that very sort of Bushido kind of thing where you don't even fight to the finish. You just take each other on, and the loser says, "Well, I lost that. It's yours." And it's like, but you didn't even finish the fight. Like, I don't need to finish the fight. I know that I've already lost.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what Adjicutty felt like in the manga. So.
I know it was a while back, but do you remember what I wrote about in my fanfic of Alita's first Motorball?
Oh gosh, because it took me 6 months to read your fanfic. Not really. I do remember Adjicutty apologized to her for what he did on the track. I remember that he came over to Ito's, and Alita was ready to, kind of take him out, I guess, and Ito inserted himself in there, and she burned him with with her plasma weapon, burned Ito, or just didn't injure him seriously, but just what burned his hand or something, wasn't it? Yeah. And then Adjicutty came over to actually tell her that he was sorry, or he apologized, And,
he apologized to both of them, because when he was hyped up on the combat stims, he was
yes,
it was a bit rude.
Yeah,
and she got annoyed with him.
Yeah, she kind of toned down. I remember he offered, I guess it was like Crimson Wind, and he wanted to convince Crimson Wind to join their team. And Alita was non-committal. She said, "Nah, I don't know about that." And then, of course, Ito said something to her about, that's an opportunity for us. She said, "Yeah, I know that, but I didn't want to tell him that right away, or something like that, So
yeah, he had to earn her trust. She wasn't just going to give it freely.
Yeah, exactly. So, but anyway, yep, that's what happened there on that one. So, okay, and once again. This is a little bit of an adaptation of that slide you guys have all seen many times, but strictly Alita is a motorball player, and that would be in her berserker body or in her in her motorball body you saw at the end there. Certainly still has superhuman strength. I mean, much stronger than even any of the cyborgs that she competes against in that second league tryout, And of course, she's got that great durability, and particularly in a berserker body, she's got that self-healing factor. And I don't think she has that in her motorball body, but she can quickly replace parts and stuff like that, like limbs and that kind of stuff. She is freaking fast in that motorball body. Now in the berserker body, she can move Mach 6.8, but they're not going to let her do that in the motorball game, So that's why Ito, I guess, gave her those skates, to keep it at regulation, I guess is what he said. And, of course, once again, great reflexes. And at the end of the movie, she's a second league champion and still has that plasma, knows Panzerkunst. And, of course, she is an objective-oriented lady. If she has a target, she's going to hit it no matter what. So, and that's our girl right there. That's kind of what, that's her makeup. Any comments from any of you guys about this?
Well, she still has her art, doesn't she, in the motorball body? That's probably dumb, isn't it? But
yeah, I would say
they don't replace it with something less, so it's more regulation.
No,
I don't think so. I think she has a regular,
her heart is part of her core. It's not part of any of the bodies.
Yeah, so she's still got that antimatter microreactor which is going to give her a distinct advantage over any of the cyborgs she competes against, So, and now in terms of when she does eventually get into the Champions League, which is what I think we're going to see in the movie. Now, it doesn't happen, I guess, in the manga, but and I think we will see her competing against Joshigan in the movie sequel. Because we are going to get a sequel.
If that's not in the sequel, mate, I just might watch it.
Oh, I'm gonna watch it no matter what, but I will be sorely disappointed.
As if they haven't set that up. That has to happen.
Yeah, it does. I agree. But she's going to have a big advantage over anybody she competes with, even in the Champions League. Now, what she will have going against her in the Champions League is kind of like what was in the novelization, and in Maxie's fanfic, is that, the Champions League competitors, they are experienced, they are consummate professionals, they know techniques and all that she, the techniques she used on her competitors in the second league are not going to work against these, these pros, not minor league players, but they're like major league players. Those techniques she's going to have to come up with some new stuff, on that one. So
I think Alita still has her self-healing, because while they could make adjustments to the material or composition that her other bodies are made out of, when I think it was Stinger that has her against the pavement of the track, if you want to call it that, she literally pushes it down while at speed. So unless you're like made of titanium or something like that, you're gonna like grind your hand down into nothing eventually.
Well, not only that, you remember the guy that had the big mace that he was swinging around? Who was that, Maxie? I don't remember the guy that was swinging the mace. That's who it was. Yeah. He actually hit her with that thing, and it had spikes on it. So I can only imagine that one of those spikes probably penetrated, in her side or something like that. But her healing factor, by the time she, hit that, spike that was sticking out and turned around and, kind of drop kicked him and then tore the arm off the other guy and beat Mace, jammed it in his neck. She was healed by then, so that's kind of what I think. I didn't show that in the movie, but yeah, that Berserker body definitely had that healing factor for sure. And
worst case scenario, because the mace wasn't exactly like a hedgehog or echidna as we have called them. Mm-hmm. Worst case scenario, she got hit by the blunt end, but like still got scratched or heavy abrasions by the spikes.
Yeah, that's right.
Across the body, but they still would have been healed as well.
Yeah, that's right. And let me welcome Dan from Tampa, Florida, in the U.S. How's it going, Dan?
Como está? I moved, by the way.
Oh, did you? Did you move up to Pensacola?
No, I'm in Russia, so no, not in Tampa, Florida.
You're almost dead. You're the one that forced us to choose between movie and manga leader.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to pick a version. I don't know if I'm going to have both on the tier list, so I'm clearing out the ranks right now.
I haven't voted yet, but I will.
It's awesome.
Well, vote. It's your absolute civic duty to vote. You have to vote or else you'll die, like P. Diddy says. You know what I mean? The country won't continue to move forward if you do not vote. So
I still call him Puff Daddy, by the way. Yeah,
he's gonna change his name again once the old one gets played out. So
yeah, what was it? Just Diddy at one time, and I guess he's changed his name.
Yeah, we got
a
fucking Nintendo character named Diddy. He's got his name from Donkey Kong's nephew or whatever that was.
Yeah, whatever it was. Yeah. Okay, so if any of you guys got any thoughts about Alita, as either just a cyborg or a motorball player?
I would like to say that Alita was the only cyborg that she didn't use any different arm Like the
Yeah.
another cyborgs, she only has her body, her berserker body, because it's the, as she said, it has the power she needs. She doesn't need any other kind of weapons like the another cyborgs. That's
Yeah,
the
that's right.
very big difference.
Yeah, that's right. Mace and Stinger, they had, Mace had that, of course, that mace, and then Stinger had those, I guess what you would call them, like saws, on his hands. She didn't have that, did she? So she didn't really need that. Of course,
She
did have,
she'd have a plasma. She
yeah,
needed
she
that.
had, yeah, she had her plasma weapon, but she didn't use it.
Yeah, she did.
Oh,
She
she
didn't
did.
use it in this movie.
Well, I don't know. Like, remember when she her face was getting hit on the ground, and then she made something make herself move up?
Ah, you think she may be?
I don't know. Maybe she put the jets on for 2 seconds so she could flip him up.
Could be. Yeah, could be. Yeah. Yeah, but Alejandro's right. She don't need a weapon like that, except her plasma weapon. Of course, that's inherent
She
in her
is the
berserker
weapon.
body. She is the weapon. Yeah, that's exactly right. So
Just like that scene in the Terminator movie. My whole body's a weapon.
yeah, yeah. Anybody else got a thought about Alita as a motorball player before I move on to the images?
Kick ass.
All right, cool. Well, one thing about Alita, and we saw this in the tryout. Of course, it was Murder Ball at that point. It wasn't really a tryout because Vector wanted to pay 500,000 credits, to somebody to kill her. But she definitely has that situational awareness, doesn't she? One of the things you see in that Murder Ball tryout is that when she kind of flips around and then kind of drop kicks Mace, it drop kicks him in the face actually, and then goes back to, I guess it was Exploder, wasn't it, or one of them, that she ripped his arm off and then kind of jams that into Mace's neck, I guess. He swung that mace at her like that, and she's so fast and she's so aware, of her surroundings like that, because of her combat training probably, that she dodged that mace with ease. Remember, because it came down and landed on the track beside her, but she kind of skated around it, and it was kind of quick. You can kind of look for that when you look at the movie next time. So she definitely has that situational awareness going for it. It's like a sixth sense almost, I mean, it's like uncanny, what she can sense, Now it's not a perfect thing for her because, when Exploder shot that, that plasma cannon at her, and I guess, or wasn't plasma, maybe it was probably a heat weapon of some kind, but it exploded, knocked her off her feet. Of course, then that's a little bit different. That's more chaotic. But she was still so fast and so, I guess, adaptive, I guess it was, that she was able to, like Dizzy said, put her hand on the track, or say what I guess that was what Angela said, put her hand on the track to slow herself down so Stinger would flip over, So that, just amazing how she kind of senses this kind of stuff when she's playing Motorball, So what do you guys think? What do y'all think about her ability to just kind of sense what's happening around her, sense what's going on in her environment?
It's the eyes, mate.
Yeah, well, she's got nice eyes.
Yeah, well, she can see a lot of shit going on with those eyes, mate.
Yeah. And I think too, her ears, I think she can hear probably better than most, So it's probably a combination, because one of the things about Panzerkunst, remember it was, I did a video on this some time back, but what it does, Panzerkunst, of course, is the, kind of the greatest martial art for cyborgs. And its goal is to create oneness with the senses. I think that's one of its goals. And I think that plays into it too, because I think just, what she can hear or even just feel, I think is going to be heightened, or her situational awareness will be heightened just because of her training.
She did take out a few of those dudes with the motorball itself.
Yes, she did. including Screwhead. Yeah,
that's the weapon she's using. Took some guy's head off.
yeah. She smacked. What's the guy? The guy. Gosh, had the two blades that went after her at the beginning of the race. I guess I can't remember his name now. He was in the bar, when they were fighting too. Because he's a hunter warrior, I think. Anyway, it's not important. But
then, he was important because he didn't get introduced.
He didn't.
The guy who got his head knocked off was one of the wingmen. I think he was blue wingman.
Okay.
And there was red wingman as well. Which, not surprisingly, the if you know the trivia, the body design for the wingman is actually Adjicutty's design from the manga.
Oh wow! I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
There you go.
Learn something every day. Yeah. Well, red wingman, he exploded, right?
Yeah, he had a fuel line issue.
Yeah. Yeah, and that took him out.
He suffered a RUD. Rapid eye disassembly.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons why Alita was so, I guess, beyond these guys, beyond all of them, in terms of abilities and stuff like that, is this has a big deal to do with this, or a lot to do with it. Just her heightened sense of awareness, that kind of thing, or heightened state of awareness, because she has that, and of course
let me tell you that the name of the cyborg with the knife at the beginning of the race, the name is Kumasa.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Yeah, Kumasa, yeah. Okay. Well, she definitely, she didn't take him out on that shot. She hit him with the motorball. It was kind of like an uppercut. I got an image on that coming up, but yeah, she did. Yeah, she did like an uppercut on him and hit him, because he took a couple of swings at her with his blades, and then she ducked under him, which also showed how athletic she is, so.
He can race backwards like Alita too, right? It's very, very extraordinary the way that they come back in that speed, going forward or going backwards.
Yeah, he was pretty good. There's no doubt about that. And of course Alita skates backwards a little bit too when she threw that motorball at Screwhead. She kind of spun around. Was kind of going backwards for a little bit. When she flung that motorball at her.
Because Alita was the only one that used the motorball like an arm when she threw it to the Screwhead, and in fact the motorball is a very specific ball, because this ball has a gyroscope and it has a very mechanical and dynamic way to move by itself. So it's very hard to catch and to play with that kind of ball.
Yeah. In the novelization, it speaks to the motorball as having gyros and kind of little mechanisms in there that kind of give it they're independent, which kind of give it a little bit of a, kind of a random chaotic movement,
Sure.
that makes it hard to catch and stuff like that, so you're absolutely right. It's not just a ball. It's got some kind of, mechanisms inside of it that make it behave the way it does when it's rolling down the track.
You can see all that in the movie, because the knobs on the end turn, they rotate. So when the ball's flipping all over the track, it's actually doing that on purpose.
Yeah.
And you can actually see it when she first picks it up. You can see it's rattling all over the place.
Oh, you mean like the knobs? You can see them spinning?
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that it explains in the manga somewhere that that's what happens as well.
Yeah, the knobs are motorized, so it randomizes the ball direction. I actually wrote about that in my fanfic, but you've forgotten because it was so long since you read it.
Yeah, it only took me 6 months to read it, didn't it, Maxie? Of course, now I can say nah, 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 because I've read all 10 chapters and you haven't got chapter 11 yet. So
I'm working on it.
no problem, Maxie. It's cool.
Still waiting for the audio book.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus Christ, you lazy bastard.
Why the hell would you want to hear Maxie's voice droning
That's what-
on and on?
That's
and
what
on?
I wonder.
Who wouldn't want to hear Max's voice?
Oh, dizzy. Am I making you dizzy? Am I dizzy?
Yeah, mate.
Well, you Aussies probably don't care about each other's voices, I guess. But, outside of Australia, y'all got kind of a unique accent that us foreigners, as they say in the South, think are pretty cool. So. Also, Alita's a very fast skater. And I think it even speaks to this in the novelization. But, that scene at the beginning, you see what kind of right before that, that image on the left there, when I guess Mace, tries to hit her with his mace, she's already 10 meters down the track by the time when he swings, and tries to hit her with it on the takeoff, on the start, she's already out of the way. She's already way down, far in front of him, So, she's quick in terms of, getting off the mark real fast, and she's a very fast skater.
Well,
And
in the novelization, Hugo basically, when he's training her, he says, you got to be faster than them. The most important thing is to be faster than them. So.
And of course, she's got those wheeled feet, so I think when she played Motorball in the street in the movie, she didn't have that. So she probably wouldn't have been as fast or whatever. But, those wheeled feet are going to kind of give her some more stability and, probably directly integrate with her systems. So she's going to be, faster than that. Of course, those feet are within regulation. So she can't go Mach 6.8, but she can definitely, she can definitely go really, really fast. And there was another scene there when she jumps over Stinger and you see her land and she just takes off and she's kind of moving away from the pack, so she's really, really fast,
A good chunk of that would be the fact that she's far more aerodynamic than Mace or Stinger, that's for sure.
Yeah, they're kind of big hulking guys, aren't they? They don't, to me now, just looking at it, if this was a real, by the way, there is a real sport called motorball. I don't know if you guys know that or not, where it's kind of like hockey, I guess, field hockey. And some guys are on motorcycles and they try to get the ball into the goal. It's not like this motorball. They call it that, because they're, of course they're on bikes, or motorcycles. So, but
no doubt that oh fuck! I nearly lost my train of thought. Thrust to weight ratio. No doubt that the bigger the body, the the more power that they'll be able to allowed to be have in their engine, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But you'd think that that's one area that they'd be watching pretty intently over. But then again, who knows with Vector's influence.
By the way, Lee Lemon says he's got a story, an Alita story. Lee, you ought to put that on the internet so we can read it. And if
it's on the internet.
Oh, it is? Oh, I didn't know that.
It's on fanfic.net.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I'll have to
get
look at that.
Maxie to link it to you.
Okay. And I guess Maxie will tell you it'll only take me 6 months to read that one.
Well, his is about 3 times longer than mine, so
it'll take me a year and a half to read that one. Yeah, we'll have a sequel by then. So, but yeah, I'd like to see that though, Lee. Definitely. I'd like to see how what you got in your story. That'd be kind of cool, I think. Another thing about these big hulking guys, Stinger and Mace, you know, they are, you know, they may have more powerful engines, you know, for sure, possibly, although I can't imagine any engine inherently would be more powerful than Alita's antimatter microreactor heart, you know. But, you know, since she is kind of scaled down here, powered down, you know, for within regulations on the motorball track, she's still going to be far more maneuverable than these guys. You know, they're just going to be like big hulks. You know, and it's kind of like that guy Gangsta. You know, he's the guy that was in the I don't know if it was a modified tricycle or whatever he was in. You know, he's there. You see the jets coming out of the back of the, I guess they're like exhaust pipes. You know, he's probably pretty fast too, but he's not going to be as maneuverable, you know, as Alita. Now, you know, probably Screwhead, you know, she would probably be almost as maneuverable as Alita, but she's not going to be as fast, you know. So, you know, I think Alita had a lot going for her in the tryout, which turned into a hunt, as Vector would say. So, any other thoughts about that one, you guys?
Not really for me.
I would like to say that the design of the cyborg for the film were really amazing. There was a lot of work designing every cyborg taken from the mangas, and the very
Yeah.
good designers that Robert Rodriguez has in count to design a very specific and very rich elements of every one of them.
Yeah, and the details, you know, and these other cyborgs too, you know, they went to they had a lot of detail in this. I mean, you can see why this thing cost $170 million just to start, you know, I guess. Let's see what we got here, Maxie. Ah, there it is. Let me,
That's Lee Lemon's,
yeah, I'm going to put Lee, I'm going to put the URL for in the chat.
Yeah, it's currently 18 chapters and 150,000 words, so it's a little bit under 3 times the length of mine.
Ah, okay.
Because you
I'll
take
get
so
there
long
eventually.
writing it.
Well, I'm going to check it out. That's for sure. Yeah, and I can't think of anything else to say about her being a fast skater. I would also say though that her reflexes come into play here too. You know, I mean, she's able to dodge and move around, and I can't remember the guy whose head she took off with that motorball. I don't know his name, but you know, she kind of went back.
That was Red Wingman.
Red Wingman, okay. So
Red Wingman and Blue Wingman.
Okay, well, who was the guy that exploded at the beginning? Was that because I remember seeing?
I think that was Red. I think it was Blue Wingman.
Blue Wingman. Okay, so all right.
So there's 2 wingmen and they both went poof pretty early.
Yeah, because Blue Wingman he tripped over. I guess when he was going down the track, he tripped over Exploder and kind of spent, did a cartwheel, landed on the side of the track and exploded because of his fuel line, I guess. So. But yeah, I think with Red Wingman, you know, she kind of was going back and forth behind him. You know, she was doing what Hugo told her to look out for, you know, when people are chasing her. But, you know, I mean, she kind of faked him off by jumping real high like that, like she did. And Red Wingman was just kind of looking over his shoulder like he was looking down the track, you know, and he couldn't see her because she was out of his line of vision above him, you know. So, and she was able to jump to that height pretty fast, you know, and I think I got a couple of images on that one coming up too. Ah, there it is right there. Yeah, Alita is really athletic. You know, I mean, she's, certainly being a cyborg, that's going to help for sure, a total replacement cyborg. But, you know, that ability to leap way above Red Wingman like that in such a way that it's, and to do it so quickly, and to do it in such a way that she's out of his field of vision where he can't see her, you know, even though he's got his head turned in that direction, he can't see her, you know. But yeah, our girl's really athletic.
Well, that has a lot to do with the Panzerkunst. I mean, they train in 0G. So
yeah,
basically, whereas once an average motorballer leaves the track, they've got no control over their body. They just end up cartwheeling, exploding, and you know, crashing out. When she leaves the track, she starts throwing her body around and using her momentum to change her direction and her orientation, because she knows Panzerkunst. So she has this huge advantage, especially when she leaves the track. Yeah. So whereas they think, oh, you know, get her skates out from under and she's done for. No. Well, I've written about that a lot in her first motorball match in my fanfic, that, you know, she spends a lot of her time not on the track. Yeah, she runs along people's swords and bounces off their carapaces, and, you know, kicks their wheels out from under them, and you know, grabs bits of fairing and shoves it into their wheels. She basically dirty scraps them. Yeah.
Well, another big advantage she has too is that these other cyborgs, they have more, like, I guess you would call them like conventional engines in them, if you want to call them that. They got fuel lines and stuff like that, which kind of makes them vulnerable, you know, in some ways, whereas Alita does not have that. You know, she's got that, what her systems are, you know, designed, you know, to interface with that antimatter microreactor. And, you know, she doesn't have that same situation with a fuel line if she was to get, say, injured, you know. Now, yeah, she's got heart's blood and cyber blood running through her, but they're not explosive, you know, like, say, gasoline, you know. So I think that's another big advantage she has, you know, and of course her berserker body, and I think even her motorball body that I guess Ito made for her, they're both superior in terms of, you know, their abilities and their design over at least over the bodies of those cyborgs that were in the Motorball thing, you know, for the tryout type thing. Now, I think the bodies that, like, Joshigan uses and Adjicutty and, you know, those guys, you know, Crimson Wind, I think they're pretty solid. And I can't remember if they have fuel lines or not. You know, maybe they do, but you know, but I think, you know, those cyborgs like Gangsta and Mace, you know, and I guess the guy with the blades, I can't remember, I forgot his name now.
Kumasa is the name.
Well, he was more like Alita in terms of that, but I guess it would be Stinger. That's who I was trying to think of. You know, they're going to be, you know, they're going to be like having a 1960 Chevy running against a Ferrari, you know, or something like that. That's what it's going to be like in terms of difference in ability, you know. So Maxie, you think all of her Alita's athletic skill is going to be primarily from her motorball body and her Panzerkunst? Is any of that inherent from her training, you think? Because she does have, in this case, she does have a human brain. So,
well, there's different ideologies for motorball. There's the big, heavy, you know, be-weaponed chassis that you know, trundles along the track and isn't the fastest, but is really dangerous.
Yeah.
And then you've got and those ones can usually do like a quick spurt of speed to catch up to somebody, but then, you know, they use their weapons to deal with them. And also, you know, they might have big shields or something like that they use to knock motorballs off their feet. And then you have the speed types like Crimson Wind and Alita that speed is their primary focus, and they're the ones that, you know, are quicker, more agile, and can do more acrobatic things to get around these big hulking combat machines.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it's kind of like American football. You know, you get linemen that are big. You know, they weigh 300 pounds. They probably bench press 500 pounds, and they're strong as bulls. But when you compare them to, say, like a wide receiver or a running back, they're not near as fast. You know, so
Exactly.
yeah, that I think that's kind of a similar, you know, kind of a difference, I guess, between like you say, Alita and Crimson Wind, and the rest of these big hulking guys. You know. I think Joshigan, I think he's kind of a combination of both, isn't he? I mean, he's certainly powerful, but he's fast. You know, as a matter of fact, I think there was one thing in your fan flick that said that at one point Adjicutty, at certain points in that one match, he was actually fast. He skated faster than Joshigan, but Joshigan still was considered the fastest, you know, competitor on the track, you know, but he's also pretty powerful. So he's probably a optimal match of both, probably.
Well, the thing about the motorball is that it's quite large and it's heavy. So whenever you're carrying the motorball, it will slow you down because it's extra mass. Yeah. And that means that even the speed types can be caught up with because, you know, they're being slowed by the weight of the motorball.
Yeah, that motorball weighs 40 kilograms, so that, which is about 88 pounds. So that's pretty freaking heavy. Yeah.
Very heavy.
But if you've got that extra mass and you're lugging it around, it's going to change the speed which you can take corners and your general overall track speed. So you've got to take that into consideration. Basically, the person who's got the motorball is going to try and be out in front, but everyone else will be able to catch up to them because they're slowed by it.
Yeah.
So that's how you keep the game from just being a runaway win by somebody who's the fastest, grabs the motorball, and off they go, and nobody can get anywhere near them. So basically, the motorball is the thing that can get you points, but it also drags you down and lets the other players get to you so that it stays a combat sport rather than just you outrun them and that's the end of it.
Yeah, I guess if you have one of those fast bodies, say like Crimson Wind, and you're out in the lead of that motorball, that thing's going to slow you down to the point that where the big hulking guys can catch up to you, and they'll be pretty dangerous when you have the ball, I would think. But anyway,
combat sports. We'd like to hear from an expert. Dan?
Well, yeah, Dan, how would you compare this to like a Muay Thai match?
It's completely different. I mean, we see that when it comes to, like, say, kickboxing and Muay Thai, a lot of people get them confused, but there's actually slightly different rules, and it completely changes the game. It completely changes your balance, the way you stand, the way you punch, the way you kick, everything. So you'll see some people who try to transition from kickboxing to Muay Thai suck at either one. Same thing for MMA. People think they can just transition into MMA. It doesn't work like that. And you've seen MMA fighters try to box. It doesn't work like that. So adding something like speed in with motorball and mechanics and some forms of weapons and things like that, that will completely, absolutely change the game. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't have very much to say on this as a combat sport because it just is so radically different. You know, minor tweaks can change the whole game, whereas now you're fucking doing all kinds of crazy shit. You know what I mean? So
but I think we all agree here is that Alita is extremely athletic. I mean, we can attribute that to Panzer Kuntz. We can attribute that to her body, you know, or even her training. But I think also she kind of has an innate ability to do all that stuff. You know, she has a human brain, and, you know, there, like, some things, it's kind of like Den was saying on the stream a while ago, you know, you can train your ass off all you want, you know, and it's a good thing. But until you've actually been in a fight, you know, or say sparring, not fighting so much, you know, because we don't want to be doing any fighting. But, you know, until you do that, and until you get, say, hit in the face or something like that, your training will only get you so far. You know, I mean, and so with her, I mean, certainly being in the military and being in a war, you know, she's probably experienced, you know, what we would consider being hit in the face, you know. So, yeah, I think she has that innate, you know, kind of a instinctive ability, of any kind of combat sport, because she can translate that in some ways, and I think her Panzerkunst and her body helps her do that. So,
well, I would say, because here's the thing, that where sparring and / fighting, that kind of stuff, really is 50% of the equation. It's just learning how to react to other people doing things. You know what I mean?
yes,
Learning what it looks like when someone is about to throw a kick at you or a punch at you. That's why they have that phrase, and it mostly I've heard it in boxing, is giving someone a different look. You know what I mean? Whereas you reach up to say, you just use your glove to scratch your nose, and then you use that as a chance to throw your jab. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff, hiding telegraphs and stuff. It's learning how to catch little things like that. So that's why I don't think that war or combat sports would translate to Panzerkunst, because it looks completely different. You know what I mean? So in order to, not the Panzerkunst, I mean to Motorball. In order to get good at Motorball, it'll be like boxing. You know what I mean? People ask, how do you get good at boxing? Well, you have to box somebody. I think that I don't think that war would necessarily translate perfectly well. Combat, that kind of stuff. I'm pretty sure in the world of Alita, in the deep lore, you can get someone who's a former soldier that tries out for Motorball and sucks, and vice versa. You know what I mean? I think just getting good at Motorball. Now, I do think that the fact that she has such quick reflexes in her athleticism, that's what helped her. You know what I mean? But I think that separate from Panzerkunst helps. Yes, it helps with the way she moves her body, but separate from Panzerkunst, separate from fighting, she's just innately good at Motorball. You know what I mean? I know the manga tried to translate singing and stuff like that to martial arts and Motorball, but if you want to make it just slightly more realistic, not really. She's just good at singing, not because she's not good at singing because she's good at Motorball. She's just good at singing. And I would say the same thing is for Motorball, combat, and all the like.
Well, I would say one thing, it's kind of like, it'd be similar to like a baseball player trying to play football. I mean, you could be a great baseball player, or say like in the case of Michael Jordan, he was a great basketball player.
If you're good at both, you were just naturally good at both. One did not necessarily help you for the other. Maybe in those sprints, maybe if you're a good sprinter, that would translate. But other than that, your baseball skills aren't really going to help you in basketball or golf or tennis.
Yeah. Well, but the thing of it is,
there are some things in training for basketball that you do, like bouncing balls, because you just have to be you have to be coordinated and very dexterous to.
Well, you have to have that
avoid double dribbling and.
Yeah, you got to have the hand-eye coordination thing. But my point was,
and balance,
my point was this: is that
it doesn't always translate.
Well, not really. But what I'm saying is, is that you get some people, let's say like Bo Jackson, and for you Aussies, you probably don't know who Bo Jackson is, but he was he was like a really famous football player. I mean, he played college football here, and he was great, playing college football, and he played pro football, and he was great. But he switched to baseball, and he was great at that too, but he's kind of the exception to the rule on that,
That's just because he's overall good. He was good at both, you know what I mean? But like I said, general things can translate. Like, this guy has good hand-eye coordination. Good hand-eye coordination translates over to being able to pick up new skills quickly. But you have to understand, it's a new skill. You see what I'm saying? Swinging a bat is not like, we in Muay Thai, we always equate swinging a bat to kicking. The way we kick in Muay Thai, how kicking in Muay Thai is different than kicking in Taekwondo, but it's still not the same thing. It's just kind of a metaphor. You know what I mean?
Well, it would probably be like what a baseball player trying to play cricket. It'd probably be similar. That.
Maybe that would be similar because they're similar sports, but I don't know because, like I said, even kickboxing and Muay Thai, just the tiny minor tweaks and rules change the game completely, and you focus on different things in your training based on that. Because I'll explain. So I was boxing first before I did Muay Thai, and you notice that Muay Thai fighters stand really high. They don't put a lot of weight in the front feet in general. There's some changes in style. They don't put a lot of weight in their front feet, and they don't use a lot of head movement. Well, I use a lot of head movement. And I thought that my head movement would save me, but then I realized why they don't use head movement, because you can get kicked in the head or kneed in the head, and they don't have a lot of combinations, a lot of quick combinations on the inside. And the reason why is because, well, why would you punch a lot in the inside when now you have the use of clinch and elbows and stuff? Those tiny little things change things. Whereas in kickboxing, you do see a lot of the head movement and punches on the inside because they've limited your clinch and taken away your elbows. Those little tweaks right there change everything, and it completely changes what you focus on in training, which is why you hear a lot of coaches talking about sport-specific training. Even in running, you have your 5Ks, you got your 10Ks, your half marathons. You have to focus on one of those kinds of races because you're recruiting different aerobic to anaerobic systems in each one. So if you want to be good at 5K, you got to run 5Ks. And that doesn't mean you're going to be good at a marathon. And just because you're good at a marathon doesn't mean you're going to be great at a 5K either. You might be able to run 26 miles, but then when you get to that 3-mile run, these dudes are smoking you. You know what I mean? And you're dying, you know? It's just who knows? You know what I mean? Things are just very different. Yeah.
Oh, I agree with you. I mean, I remember when I used to run, you know, I ran 6-minute miles in a 5K, 5K. But when I ran that marathon, I didn't come near 6-minute miles. Not even close. Yeah.
They're different engines, which is why they say with running, you know, you have your anaerobic engine and your aerobic engine. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's what makes a lot of like MMA and boxing differently too, because you're recruiting different engines and stuff. Yeah. But you know, you have to train one. You do have to train both for both sports, but you focus more on one than the other when you're switching between sports. So that's why I'm just saying, who knows what I think that Alita is good at both motorball and fighting and war and singing and all that stuff, just because she's actually just good at that shit. You know what I mean?
Stuff. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Well, not necessarily inherently. I mean, think about it. Have any of you done like the skydive training where they're blowing a huge fan up at you?
What was that again, Chaos?
That's simulated 0G right there. And like Newton's third law is very obvious when you're doing the skydiving training, because like a slight movement of your arm, you'll have an opposite reaction where your body will go way out of balance from a slight movement. And the reason why I'm getting at this is because the similarity here is you have to have very tight control when you're ice skating, roller skating, or hey, how about motorball? Yeah. And the fact that Alita's training started with the whole 0G thing, where your balance is so delicate, would translate to some degree of coordination. I'm not saying she wouldn't train, but I'm just saying the reduced friction and the need to really balance yourself out and compensate for your balance would really be substantial when it comes to motorballing.
Yeah.
Maybe I said, because I've never done motorball. I've never even fucking played hockey. I lived in Florida and California. Okay, we don't do very much. Well, I guess we do. There, No, that's right, because the Lightning are big down here. You know what I mean? But
the Tampa Bay Lightning. Yeah, they're big. Yeah.
Yeah. You get what I'm saying. But you get what I'm saying. You know what I mean? So maybe there could be some translation with some balance stuff. And like I said, little things can make you good. You know, soccer players sprint a lot. So, you know, and
I'm just saying that skydiving training, that's just
maybe the sprinting translates over because you were a very good sprinter in soccer. So then maybe that's one thing that you didn't have to learn over in tennis. You know what I mean? But in general, you know, you do have to learn each.
Right. I'm just saying that skydiving, your balance is really delicate. That's one of the closest things to 0G you can do on Earth. Really sensitive balance.
Well, definitely skydiving is a lot different than football or motorball. For that.
Well, it wasn't real skydiving, just jumping in front of the fan. I'm going to admit that I ended up rolling over.
Yeah.
Basically the entire time, because like I moved the shoulder slightly. I spun around.
Yeah. Well, I do know one thing about Alita in training, though. In the novelization, she trained for 2 or 3 months, I think, before she went into that so-called tryout. You know, when Hugo got her, or say Vector, you know, was trying to set all this up, of course. But you know, when the offer was made for her to try out, it was like 2 or 3 months of her training, you know, to go for that tryout. So
it was actually only 2 or 3 weeks.
Oh, was it 2 or 3 weeks?
Long.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't that long.
Okay. But she did have to do training though. So she did do that, you know, so she had to have some learned skills, you know, to do that. Cause probably with the exception of that street game she played, she probably never played rollerball before, you know? So,
no, but I mean, there would be a learning curve, but I'm just saying the sense of really delicate balance as the training starts in 0G.
Yeah.
That's quite a bit to translate there.
Yep.
I would like to say that for obviously for the time in the film, it was a very big jump between the moment that Hugo said to Alita to go for a pro motorball game player, and the point that she starts in the second league. I think I would like to see maybe 10 or 5 minutes, maybe a little training. The Hugo and Alita, it would be nice in the middle to see how to train, and maybe I think she got some skill from the other person, but I think the experience of Hugo is limited to scrimmage. So I think maybe somebody helped her to know more skills to get more specific training for that motorball play.
Yeah, I would say though, if they tried to put any training in a movie like that, because remember they did delete the scene out of the movie. You know, it's on Raul's on his channel, but it's going to take some video time, you know, to do that. And if they put anything like it, it had to be a flashback, maybe if it's going to involve Hugo, or if she's going to say like maybe Ed, you know, trains her in the sequel, they're not going to be able to devote a lot of time to that. You know, if we got 2 minutes, I'd be surprised. Well, you know,
training is slightly less important than showing a character hitting a roadblock. That's really the truth. I mean, if a character, you know, trains but still hits some kind of roadblock, that shows they have some kind of weakness or thing that they haven't really learned yet.
Yeah.
And it shows the need to change or the needs to grow.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
But I just think there's limited, like you'd say, film footage that they could put into that, because if they, you know, even if they were to do a 3-hour movie, which they probably won't on the sequel.
Right. That's why I'm just saying the part with the pan coming back is kind of important.
Yeah. So
that or volumes volume 6, volume 9. Because that's sort of like where because in all those ones, teamwork kind of matters in certain ways.
Yeah. Yeah, they'd have limited time on that for sure.
Well, that's reason
I mean, I'm just saying, you know, good dynamics with her supporting cast would really help.
Okay, well, let's move on to the, you know, Alita's, you know, ability to fight, which we know is really good just from, you know, not from the motorball so much because, you know, if she, you know, she beat the crap out of those 3 cyborgs in her doll body, you know, in the alley. You know, she beat the crap out of, you know, out of Zapan, you know, twice, once in her doll body, and then, well, she sliced his face off in her berserker body. But even in her doll body, you know, she was kind of 1-for-1 against Gruishka. Now she, you know, certainly finished him off pretty fast in her berserker body, but, you know, I mean, a really good fighter. Now, I don't think the skills in fighting are going to be sufficient for motorball, but I would say if you're going to play motorball, particularly this tryout, which was really murder ball, as she put it in the novelization, you better be able to fight, you know, and you better be good at it, you know. But that, you know, once again, you got to know how to skate, and, you know, that kind of, you got to know the sport and the rules, and, you know how to, you know, manage the track and all that. That's not a fighting type thing. But I would say one of the essential elements of motorball is to be able to fight, and Alita is really, really good at that. So
it's like hockey.
Yeah, that's exactly. Well, I don't know. Those hockey players and in American football, you'll see them fight sometimes, and they're pretty bad.
Well, the thing about fighting in hockey is that you're on ice skates.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, so part of what you're doing with one hand is balancing and striking with the other hand.
Yeah.
But it's funny because I remember one day I was working, and I had this manager who's a fucking asshole. I got in an argument with him on the floor one time. And he told me out of nowhere, because I hated this guy. Everyone hated this guy. He told me out of nowhere, hey, guess what? I'm like, what? He goes, you know I can kick your ass, right? And I'm like, what? What do you mean kick my ass? And he goes, yeah, I played hockey for 10 years. I was an enforcer, so I can probably kick your ass. And I'm like, What the fuck? That's the most random shit I've ever heard.
No, playing
Maybe,
hockey,
I guess.
Yeah, not because you played hockey though. I mean, hockey, you don't learn to fight in hockey. You know, if you want to learn to fight, you got to, you know, take up a martial art of some kind, you know, whether it's boxing or karate or Muay Thai or jiu-jitsu or something. Yeah.
Okay, so you played hockey for 10 years. Cool. So that means 10% of what you did was fighting. You know what my sport was, the entire thing? I didn't say that, of course. You know what I mean? I just laughed it off like that was the weirdest shit I've ever heard from my boss. You know what I mean? But I guess it's kind of motorballs in a way like that, you know? It's a sport that's not necessarily focused on fighting, but heavily involves it, especially culturally, you know?
Yeah, I remember one time with a colleague, you know, we were a bunch of us, you know, kind of was at an offsite at a hotel and that kind of thing. And this one guy, you know, he's a good friend of mine, but he said, you know, Gary, I could probably kick your ass. And I went, really? You know, and he said, yeah, because in a fight, I don't fight fair. And
I hate that.
Well, here's the thing. I'm not done. He said, I don't fight fair. And I looked at him and I said, it wouldn't matter.
Exactly. I heard that so many times. So being an instructor, especially a self-defense instructor, you know what I mean? You hear this shit all the fucking time from like the dude bros. You know what I mean? Usually I love dude bros. I love dude bros. They're really fun guys, but they're just retarded when it comes to fighting. They're always like, bro, I just see red. And it's like, that's not going to save you. You know what I mean? Against someone who knows what the fuck they're doing.
Oh, you can see a color. Oh, great.
Bro, I just see red, or I just go blank, and or, you know, oh, I don't fight fair. And it's like, bro, that's not going to save you. And that goes to the other side too, the martial artists, where they think that, oh, I'm going to teach this woman how to just kick to the groin and that's going to save her. And it's like, no, that might just piss her, attack her off even more. She has to actually learn how to fight. You know, you can't just, you know, I actually worked with someone like that. He used to pass off just these one-off techniques, you know what I mean? And be like, okay, now you can defend yourself. Keep paying me $120 a month. And I'm like, you have to get these people on the floor rolling and fighting and sparring. You can't just
learning. You know they mean? Got to learn, Dan. They have to learn how to do it. They can't just
have them kick a pad, you know what I mean, for a half an hour and do a bunch of burpees and push-ups, you know what I mean, for the rest of the time in class, and then expect to know how to fight. That's not fighting, you know what I mean? Fighting is fighting, and that's to fight you to be good at fighting, you know.
Well, be that as it may, you know, Alita is a really good fighter. We know that. We saw that in the movie, and I think some of this did translate over into Motorball. You see there, she's hitting Kramazu there. So I mean, with that Motorball on the right. I mean, that's like an uppercut, man, but with that Motorball, that 88-kilogram or that 88-pound ball, you know, and of course he went flying, you know, and then of course being able to adapt and take out Exploder to rip his arm off. Like, was it Exploder? I can't remember. It was one of them, but rip his arm off and then jam it into, you know, Mace's neck, you know. I mean,
there's the scene. I feel like, to me, the scene I think of when I think of Motorball is when Jashugan and Alita square off, and I think that right there is where her fighting really helped her. That's where fighting, combat sports, martial arts, war, that kind of stuff will help. Will come into handy when you know, when you're squaring off against one or maybe multiple people trying to attack you head on. You know what I mean?
Well, you know, it's kind of like I was saying a while ago, too, is that fighting is maybe an essential element of Motorball, but it isn't the only element, you know.
No.
I mean,
yeah.
So
exactly.
Cool. Dan, if you and I ever meet, we have to spar. You know that, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. I've sparred pretty much everyone. I told
you, gotta go easy on me, though. I haven't sparred
a guy who tried to bully me in high school. You know what I mean? He tried to bully me. That's the key word. Did not succeed in it.
You'll have to go easy on me, though. I haven't sparred in 40 years, but hey, I'm willing to try.
Yeah, we'll just go to a local gym and, you know, do a drop-in or whatever.
Yeah.
But, you know, you have to be used to the Florida humidity. A lot of people drop dead.
Yeah. Thor Asuma, no, if I got in a sparring match with Dan, I think I would probably bet on Dan. So, you know, I don't think you should bet on me if you want to keep your money, that is. So,
I'm not a gambling man, so I wouldn't bet on anybody. Yeah. I'm not that big-headed yet.
Oh, but Thor Asuma is a gambling gal. Look at that. I love it. So
that's all right. That's like I'll send Creaky in first to soften you up, and then I'll come in for the kill.
So you're saying I could take two
Alita
guys?
versus Android.
Not
it's gonna
Ram
be
Rex,
Alita
but
versus
you know
Android 18.
what you're saying is that I can take two dudes. Is
Oh,
is
where's
basically what
Dizzy
you're
when
saying.
we need him? So you're saying I can take two? Yeah, I'm saying that you can take two guys.
Okay, all right, yeah, I guess depending on how you want to see that, you know what I mean. I'll take it as a L or a W.
I think it'd be fun. But anyway,
I don't know, Dan.
after that, we'd have to do.
I don't know, Dan. You and I ought to play Bushido Blade live someday.
What was that?
Bushido Blade, the fighting game where one hit kills you.
You're talking a fighting game where you're talking about using swords or what?
A Bushido stick is what he's talking about.
Listen, I'm gonna just tell you this: if someone comes
No,
out with a
Bushido
Bushido
Blade
stick
where
or
you're
katana,
actually
I'm just gonna pick up a rock.
No, I'm not gonna
I'm
fight.
going to pick up a rock and throw it at you from 20 feet away. If you come at me with a fucking sword,
yeah, that ain't gonna happen. So, anyway,
rock
getting back.
No, but I'm just saying, play the game as a live stream thing. It'd be pretty cool.
Game. Oh, okay, yeah.
No,
Okay,
I never even heard of that
in
game.
a real Bushido thing, I'm not going to compete in that. There's no way.
Yeah,
That's not happening.
Nah, I'm not that mean. I'm not that mean. I wouldn't do it for no reason.
Yeah.
For my own defense. That's it. Okay.
All right. Cool. Anyway, getting this thing back
But
to
if
Alita.
we ought to do a live stream game of some kind, live stream multiplayer somehow. If anyone knows how to get, if anyone knows about the Alita group on Discord.
Yeah, we might do something like that one day. I think that'd be pretty fun. I think. But anyway, let me bring it back to Alita.
The other thing I was thinking about is if I could host like multiplayer Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The arcade game for that is pretty amazing.
Okay, but like I say, I want to bring this back to Alita. You know, she's a really good fighter.
Yes, let's do that.
Yeah, and that Panzer Kumpf is going to do that thing. You know, that's going to be really. That's going to be kind of a edge she's going to have on these other cyborgs. Even playing Motorball.
Sorry, I'm thinking about too much at once.
Say, what was that again, Chaos?
Thinking about too much at once. It's okay.
Okay. Alejandro, you going to say something?
Yes, I would like to talk about one of the great scenes of the beginning of the film in the scrimmage when Tanji knocked down Alita and she rises very hungry, and she in the second round she develops very quickly very good skills to knock down Tanji and hit the ball in the wall, right? I think in the emotional aspects of the Alita combines very well the skills, the strength, and the emotion because the requirements of justice, because Tanji was very bad with her because he knocked down there because she doesn't know anything about the play, but the hungry that she rides from the earth and the very specific techniques that she gets to knock down Tanji and take the balls and make the goals. I think the point of the start was in that moment.
Yeah.
Remembering the techniques.
Yeah, I agree with
aspects.
Yeah, I agree. That's well, you know, one of the things about that too, Alejandro, is that when she first shows up, you know, they show her walking down the street and she sees them playing and she's all happy and she, you know, she's really looking for Hugo is what she's doing, you know, and she's you know, she's kind of not in the mode of, you know, wanting to fight or anything. She's just happy to see Hugo and that she's spending time with him and playing this game and stuff like that, you know, and she says, Hugo says, you want to join in the motorball game? She says, sure, why not? She's not in that combative mode, you know, but when Tanji knocks her down, like you say, and she gets up, especially when she pushes Hugo's hand away when he offers to help her up, and she gets up and you see that scowl on her face. I remember the first time I saw that movie, I said, oh, shit. Yeah, he's gonna, yeah, Tanji's going to regret doing that, you know. So and then
the karma train has left the station.
That's exactly right. you know, and that's the old what goes around comes around on that one too, you know. So
That was
so
surprising. We never expect that thing with a girl that only have 24 hours on Iron City.
yeah. Yeah, that's right, because she had only just been discovered by Ito, hadn't she? So that's a good point. So she learned fast. In the novelization, you know, she kind of learned fast there too. But I remember there was Hugo was thinking at one point, you know, yesterday she could barely stand up on two skates, and now she skates like a pro, you know, and that was like maybe a couple of weeks later, you know. So yeah, she's a fast learner, that's for sure, you know. So. Oh, we lost
And
chaos.
look the emotional aspect, because and the same, if you make the parallel between the scrimmage and the motorball, she starts very joyful and she smiles, she's happy, but after she's hungry because uh, Tanji knocked down, and Dr. Ido says to her that everyone's going to kill her. She's very hungry and she's changed everything and she's going to kill anyone. That's the special moments of the emotions combining in the fighting in the play. That's very, very interesting.
Yes. Any other thoughts about her, Alita, being a good fighter? Cool.
Sorry,
Answer is correct.
Well, well, here's another one that she's good at. We kind of touched on a little bit. She can improvise, you know. So, you know, there's her throwing that ball on the left, you know, at Screwhead, excuse me. And then, of course, just kind of flipping over and hitting, you know, Exploder with the ball. I mean, that was a pretty wild move right there, you know. But, yeah, she can adapt, you know, and probably her training had something to do with this, too. The ability to think fast on her feet and stuff like that, you know, probably helped with some of this, too, you know. Any thoughts about that, guys? Okay. So we all agree that Alita can improvise then.
Sure.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. And we know this is a fact, don't we?
Reminds me of that meme where it's got like the various pictures of her facing all the other competitors, and like the first caption is, you know you're all gonna die, right? And then as she's staring at Mace, I think it is, as the last one, and she goes, and the caption reads, "Especially you."
I think it was Stinger she was staring at.
That was who?
Stinger.
Oh yeah, Stinger. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, she was staring at Stinger in that meme.
Yeah, because Stinger had done those kind of circular saw blade things at her, you know, and it's like she didn't freak out in fear. Yeah, she didn't freak out in fear, did she? She was like, you know, the look on her face was like, I'm gonna get your ass. You know, it's just like a kind of a nonchalant, you know.
No, it was more of a, okay, now this has got interesting. I'm gonna get serious.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was that too. You know, in other words, she didn't have that fear. It didn't scare her. He did it to try to intimidate her. And for her, it was like, it's almost like she kind of looked around like, oh boy. Like, yeah, that's right. Bring it. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's what.
I see you wish to challenge me. Your mistake.
Yeah. So she's very much, I guess, like that on that one. When it comes to challenges, she's a lot like Goku. You know, Goku, you know, he doesn't win every fight, but you know, he learns from every fight and he gets better each time. So, you know, I think that's, you know, Alita's a little bit like that too, I think. So, and she is definitely fearless. I mean, we even saw that in the fights, you know, I mean, when she, you know, when Ito said, when it looked like Romo was going to cut his head off, and Nisiana was going to get his eyes. She sprang into action. It wasn't a second thought. She just did it. And when big hulking Grishka, tapped his fingers together and said, "Come here, little flea, so I can pinch your head off." That didn't scare her, boy. She just went running right at him. So that's it's like. Fear is an emotion she's learned to control quite a bit, I think. I think it's kind of a second nature to her to do that, I think.
Sure. I think that combining this thought of the fearless with the capability on improvisation, taking this picture that you show us, the moment that she jumped about to scream in order to get out of the track of the motorball and go to the street to find Hugo and help him, and running so fast over the tubes of water. I think it's really amazing the way that she adapts, the way that she's running over the tracks, and she's doing the same over the tubes with Nisiana and Stinger behind her. I think it's great the way that she the speed so fast over the very, very difficult way to go over the tubes.
Yeah, and Alejandro, to your point, if you're going to execute any kind of move like that, and you've got a situation where you're tentative, or fear has kind of overpowered you, and you're tentative or reticent to do something, and you're not really, you're not going to execute it as well as you would as if it was just another thing I have to do. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. So I think Alita's like that a lot. I think she's learned to manage that to such a degree where it doesn't have any effect on what she does in any kind of technique she uses or any kind of fight she's in. I think that fear factor is just not something that is going to cause her, her effectiveness as a fighter. It's not going to degrade it, because she's not going to have that kind of any of that kind of anxiety that Just a Fan is saying right here. She's just going to do it. She just does it. It's just like an innate, like picking up a pencil or drinking a glass of water. She just does it. It's nothing that she has to, oh my God, he looks so tough, I don't know if I can beat him. Nope.
It's a force of will.
Yes. Yeah, there you go. That's what I was looking for. So, yeah, exactly.
Oh, and Alejandro, it wasn't Nisiana, it was Screwhead.
Oh, yeah, it was Screwhead. That's right. Yeah.
What is the point that I don't understand you?
You were saying that it was Stinger and Nisiana that was chasing Alita over the pipes. It wasn't Nisiana, it was Screwhead.
It was Screwhead, yeah.
Yes, no.
Yeah,
Screwhead.
Yeah, that's right. Well, Nisiana is the one she fought and took her head off in the alley. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It was the Stinger, Kumasa, and Screwhead was the three cyborgs that were behind there in order to catch her, right?
Yeah.
Sure. And the name of the Kumasa, I took it from the book of the art and making of the film, because in the movie, I think the name of Kumasa is not mentioned, right?
I don't recall it being mentioned in the movie. It is in the manga, obviously. So I think it's even mentioned in the novelization, I think. It's been a while since I've never read the novelization. I've listened to the audio book going across country several times, and it's something I never get tired of also. So.
Well, I took it from the book of the Abby Bernstein. Maybe you have bought Greek, or any one of you guys.
Have we done what, Alejandro? Have we bought what?
Yes. Yes, I asking to you if any one of you have bought the book Alita Battle Angel, the art and making of the movie of Abby Bernstein.
Well, I've got the artist concept book, if that's the one you're talking about. I've got that one. I've read that, but that's a pretty fast read actually. So,
well,
the coffee
in
table
that
art
book
book
you
is
can
on my
read about-
left. The Dysonitos journal is on my right.
ah,
I was
Oh,
actually
yes.
looking up the rules for Motorball, which is in it.
spoken like a true Alita Army member.
Oh, that's what I've got to.
That's why you're the Pope of the Alita Army there, Maxie.
I'm the fucking librarian.
Yes. Okay, so anyway, we agree that Alita, well, I say fearless. Well, I mean, she appears fearless. I kind of like what Just a Fan said a while ago. She has or what he alluded to was that, she kind of uses that fear, and she manages that fear, and it doesn't affect her effectiveness executing some fighting technique or something like that. It's just part of her nature. She just does what she does, Yep, she definitely does this. Now, I say think strategically. Actually, that should be. She's a really good tactician because you don't. When you're out there playing Motorball, you don't have a chance to think about strategy when you're playing. I mean, you can go into the game with a strategy, and you can execute the strategy. But what makes the strategy work is your different tactics. And she's really good at that. She can put all that together in such a way that she can achieve what she wants to achieve. So yeah, maybe she might have a concept of what to do going into a game because, I think there was one thing in the novelization too, where Ito, was in the locker room with her, where he was putting on her, her wheeled feet and telling her, she says, "Can a human love a cyborg?" And he says, "Yeah, Alita, but you got to keep your mind on the game." So after all that stuff goes over in the novelization, she says, "I really need to, compose myself and get into the game." So that tells me she was thinking about the strategy. And of course, Hugo had taught her a lot of strategy in Motorball, but once she gets out there, she uses her tactical abilities or her tactics to make that strategy work, and I think that's kind of what she's really good at. And certainly being able to improvise and think fast on her feet and stuff like that, I think helps that too. Thoughts, gentlemen?
I agree.
I think.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, the creek runs his mouth a lot. I'm sorry.
I would say that about the strategy, I think it's a very good example when she decides to go to the factory and she said to Hugo that she has to do something.
Yeah.
And she developed a very, very, very critical and very hard decision on how to get to the Vector office and to combat the 8 Centurions during the hall in the entrance of the factory. I think it should be a very good strategy to combat all these machines with the high speed on the all the power and the Damascus blade in order to defeat all these very hard machines.
Yeah. Well, if she can take out 12 Centurions like she did, those cyborgs on the Motorball track don't stand a chance. I mean, seriously, because those Centurions were shooting at her. And she was able to, still take every single one of them out, and she did that within just maybe 15 seconds, something like that. Holy crap. But I like what Just a Fan says there. Her ability to think strategically is intuitive. It's just part of her makeup, and that could be part of that could be her military training too. That might because that might help, a lot, so and of course once she learned the training, she can only build on it. So
But I think she developed this strategy in the moment that she becomes the hunted warriors and get the ID card, and she check the machines and go into the factory and check every machine, the position and the possibility that they could develop something against them after all.
Agreed. Oh, by the way, I want to kind of go back to what Just a Fan said here just a second. Yeah, maybe fearless wasn't the right term, but using, if she did have fear, I mean, she appears to be fearless, she does that. But I kind of agree, I think, if she uses it in such a way that, it doesn't affect her, fighting abilities efficiency. It doesn't deter or detract, from any kind of being able to fight. Hello, Just a Fan. How's it going? It doesn't deter.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. You might want to mute your YouTube speaker there because we get a lot of
trying to.
Okay. No, it's cool. It's cool.
Goodness.
Yeah, that's all right.
Darn computer's giving me the runaround. I just got new internet, so it's not quite as good as what I had before.
Oh, really?
Yep. Yeah, because I moved. I bought a new house, so
good
moved
for
from
you.
the apartment to a house, so I got.
Oh, nice.
I got kind of short-handed on the internet.
Yeah. Well, what? Not giving us your specific address, but what state do you live in?
So I'm in Wisconsin, Fond du Lac, Wisconsin.
Okay. All right. Wisconsin. Yeah. Great state.
Yep. So north of Milwaukee.
Okay. Yeah. I know where that is. Yeah.
Yep.
So anyway, yeah, I was just talking about what you were saying about Alita really not being fearless, but she appears to be fearless and she kind of uses it to her advantage. I think it just kind of makes her, it doesn't affect her. Yeah.
There's a thing, a lot of people.
I would say it does. Fear does affect her. I wouldn't. To me, I guess maybe it's my interpretation of what fearless is. To me, somebody who's fearless is somebody who also kind of flies by the seat of their pants and doesn't really, like from the beginning, they don't question the danger of a situation or even realize the danger of a situation. They just go about kind of nonchalantly.
Yeah.
So in my conception, I've always seen fearless as reckless. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A lot of people have asked me things like, how are you not afraid when you step into this ring or whatever and stuff like that? Or you hear people talking, you're like Navy SEALs in interviews and stuff, talking about how they fight the fear and stuff like that. The thing about that all these people would say, from Mike Tyson to Floyd Mayweather, every single one of these guys is afraid no matter what. And it's like what you guys mentioned earlier. It's about fear management. And the thing about the fear is that it's healthy in the sense that if you're a fearless person, you don't fear getting hit in the face. Well, guess what's likely to happen to you now? You're going to get hit in the face.
You're going to get hit.
What's a great way to lose a boxing match is getting hit in the face. So you see
couldn't have said that better.
So people who like, I guess when I was younger, I always felt like I was a little bit more scared than other people. So I used to focus a lot on defense, and that ended up helping me when I got older. You know what I mean? And fought people who were better than me, because now I'm really focused on defense, and I'm able to do things like slip and counter and things like that. You know what I mean? Whereas this other guy's just getting lit up. So,
well, I will say this about our girl though, is that, she does have her moments, where, like, for instance, when she jumped down that hole going after Grishka, not thinking that one through because she didn't have any idea what that environment was about.
I wouldn't say that.
That's not fear, though. That's confidence. So that's the one thing that we've debated about in the Dragon Ball community between Goku. Is Goku overconfident? Is Goku fearless or whatever? No, Goku's not fearless. He's not overconfident. He's just in the moments where he shows extreme confidence, like jumping down into that hole. They were confident in their abilities. So you see Alita in the film show some fear. You see what I'm saying? Back in the alley scene, I would say that.
And I would say even in jumping down to see Grishka, you can see it in her eyes, and you can see her in the bar when Grishka comes blowing through the door. And over
even
that
before
time,
she was overwhelmed.
Before she gets overwhelmed, but you can see her thinking through the situation. She is thinking as soon as Grishka blows through that door. So what you end up with is this situation of Grishka's a threat, and who else is going to deal with this?
Yes.
So then you get this situation, this kind of this kind of situation where it's like, if it's not going to be me, is basically I'm the only one who's going to deal with this because I'm the only one who cares enough to deal with it. Whether, regardless of capability, it doesn't come down to that. It comes down to I'm the only one who cares, so therefore I'm going to stand up and do at least what I can.
Yeah.
And in the manga, you get a lot, since it's long form, a film only has 2 hours, but in the manga, you get a lot more instances of absolute fear. So when she fought the clone, when she's fighting, what's her name? Cerulia, the vampire. When she's, before she's about to fight her, she's feeling moments of intense fear, shaking and sweating and stuff like that. But the thing about fear is that fear is just another tool. It's a weapon. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You have to use fear in order to give you a survival instinct, in order to want to do things like, I don't know, like you think Black Hawk Down, right? When they thought that they were just going to fight some unskilled, crack addicts, for 30 minutes, they didn't do things like take body armor and extra water with them. Well, now 10 hours into this 30-minute firefight, a lot of guys are getting shot in the back because they didn't put the body armor in their back. Fear would have told them to put the body armor in their back no matter what. Take that extra weight no matter what, because you don't know what can happen.
I don't know. That sounds more like common sense to me. To wear body armor for.
These were young special operations dudes in the 90s fighting Somalians who couldn't even afford AK-47s. They thought that their helicopters would bring them in and out of the fight within 30 minutes. Then their helicopters got shot down.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And every advantage that they had was taken away from them. So now the fear sets in. Now they're like, wow, we should have brought our body armor. So, there's that fear versus overconfidence versus just competence. And I think that jumping down the hole, it looks to us in the audience like she's not second guessing anything, but she's weighed her options by that time.
I'm going to respectfully disagree a little bit to a point, because I think the look on Alita's face when Garicia came in, I didn't see that as fear. I saw that as a kind of like an initial, maybe a surprise type thing. But then when she started looking at him, particularly when he killed that dog, it's like an utter disdain for this person. It's like you shit for brains or whatever.
I agree with that. I agree with all of that. But there's some subtle cues thrown in there that are telling me that I'll say we're both right in a sense. In a sense, we're sort of both right, but I would say you're right objectively speaking, but in terms of what's going on under the surface, I would say we're right.
I would say right before the scene where she says, I do not stand by in the presence of evil, right? That can be interpreted as her pushing through her fear. She's talking to herself inside of her head using an internal monologue, which people do very, very often when they're about to do hard things, you know what I mean? Or undertake a difficult task. You coach yourself to do it. You hype yourself up. And I think that that's kind of what she was doing. She said it internally, that she says it out loud. And she's like, this is something that I need to do. And then that's when she pushed through it in order to. And then she got overwhelmed by the fear when she was in the sewer, of course. But again, she did what she needed to do. She pushed through it.
Yeah, I think in the novelization too, Maxie, correct me if I'm wrong, but in the novelization, there was that that internal monologue was into the depths I fall or something like that. And she was saying that to herself, I guess, or thinking that to herself. So maybe that's another part of that. It's like a realization of this is what I'm doing, So anyway, that's kind of what I saw in the novelization. You don't see that in the movie, obviously, but
No. But yeah, I think, I don't know, what I kind of got throughout the whole film, it's really hard to describe for me, at least, because the only way I know to describe it is I saw myself and I know how myself thinks. And it's something kind of difficult, especially when I talk to other people about the film who didn't really connect with it at all. It, again, is about the same kind of arguments trying to make. And it's like, wait a minute, these same arguments I'm trying to make about the film are the arguments I've been making my whole life for how my head works. And I guess in that way, I'm kind of overlaying the two. But at the same time, I'm fairly confident that was what they were going for. I don't know that, short of talking to Mr. Rodriguez, but
yeah. Yeah. Well, I think Alita speaks to us in different ways, doesn't she?
Yes, I would agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. I mean, this darn film, you could get 50 different.
Oh, yeah.
Easily explanations out of it.
That's one of the things I love about this film. It's got so many ways you can interpret things. And
well, yeah, we can have these discussions at analyzing every angle of it.
Yeah, exactly.
And to me, it's like there's more than one way to get to both an objective, like physical state of mind.
Yeah.
And there's also different paths to get to a psychological state of mind.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, if all you see is without any kind of context or anything like that, if all you see is an end result, it's like, well, how did we get there?
Yeah. Well, it's not. Yeah, I agree with you. It's not that superficial, is it? I mean, there's a lot of deep in it. Yeah,
it's very, very deep. It's which is what's so incredible about it, that they were able to cram all of that
in 2 hours.
Into 2 hours. And I saw the movie before I read the manga, and then reading the manga that expanded on all of that to an extent. Yes. And my goodness, it's just beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Sure. The richness of this work is wonderful.
Yes. Yeah, the manga. I'm like you, just fan. I saw the movie before I read the manga, and I was just amazed at all of the kind of the details and all the different arcs and all the just the different little side stories and stuff like that. I went, holy crap! I had no idea. And that just made me like the film even more. Because I knew that.
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
But that to me is like the whole strategically thing too. Is there's an interesting level of intuition with that, where in a lot of ways, I don't know that she is too strategic, because I think in many ways, and I think, I think with her training, I think a lot that we see in the film and what bits and pieces we see of the training, to me, it's like, I get the sense that she already very much thought that way.
Yeah.
That she was already somebody who thought and acted intuitively, even if maybe the intuition was wrong. That was just like how she operated. Or if one of the things that I think is interesting is it says, in the film, and she specifically says, I'm drawn to conflict. Well, there's a couple of ways to interpret that line, right? And this kind of goes back to the strategically intuition kind of thing, where it's like, well, you could say, well, somebody's drawn to conflict. Does that mean that they're a hothead who goes around starting fights? Or does that mean that if there is a fight going on, that they have this, I'll say, an emotional tie, such that they feel they have to get involved in order to make that conflict stop?
Yeah.
So that's in that case, you're being drawn to the conflict like a moth to a flame.
Yes.
In a sense that it's like you feel, I have to do this, even if it means like that moth to a flame, you get too close and the moth burns up.
Yeah. I think something I said a while ago, I kind of alluded to, was that there's a difference between strategy and tactics.
Yep. Absolutely.
Tactics are more of an operational, kind of a, this is what we're going to do, and this situation presents itself, even if it's something that is unforeseen, but you have that innate ability to deal with that situation, and you have tactics to do that. The strategy is kind of the big picture stuff. So this is what I want to do, and here's how I think I want to achieve it. But now you've got to make that happen by, just performing or
executing
or whatever, so.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree with that. Absolutely.
Very good point.
This one here is for Angelus and I. Yeah, Alita does all that good stuff, but she looks good.
Oh, you
doing
greedy.
it, boy. Yeah, Angelus knows what I'm talking about. This is the Uwu thing. So, yeah, she. Yeah.
Well,
she
the one on the
definitely-
right there may not be the most flattering picture.
Yeah. Well, maybe not, but even in that one, when she's being chased, she still looks good.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, it's just her presence, I guess. You know, I mean, she has a presence like that. Oh, Dan, you changed your PFB, you rascal. He's got Shantae up there.
She's eating chicken.
Oh. So anyway,
skin
Angelus,
color
you want to say something about this, Angelus?
No, I'm saying, is she eating chicken filler?
It's a skin color thing. It's a brown people thing. Y'all wouldn't understand.
Hey, I'm 9% brown. I'm actually even 3% black there, Dan. So you know,
I'm
black where it counts. Black where it counts. You know what I mean?
Knowing the song that Dan showed us some time ago, I'm 100% brown.
That's not what he said. Say what he said in the song.
Do I get the N-word pass?
Say what he said in the song. Go ahead.
Only if I get the pass. I can't say it.
Get the stream taken down. Go ahead. Say what he said in the song.
So anyway, this is the thing for Angelus and I. Yeah, our girl looks good. You know, she does, but doesn't take away from the fact she's very capable. You know, I've often said in other streams that she's not a superhero. There's no doubt about that. But she does have superhero level skills, you know, and abilities, you know, for sure. I mean, you know, taking out all those Centurions that were armed with Gatling guns and machine guns, and she took them out with a sword. You know, I mean, holy crap, you know. Now I realize this is just a movie, you know, but, you know, if you want
it's not real?
Well, if you want to translate yourself into it, you know, and you say, just think of the situation where somebody can take out 12 Centurions that are armed to the teeth, and she only has a sword and a plasma weapon.
I agree with you,
Yeah.
Creaky. I think she's, you know, I think a superhero is kind of a special category. I think Alita's in the category more of like your Jason Bourne, kind of, or like I can't think of the name of the Die Hard.
Oh yeah, Bruce Willis's character.
Yeah.
Gosh, John McClane. Yeah,
yes.
There we go. Yeah,
I think she's more in like that category, of course, in her own world, right, where cyborgs and Centurions exist. Like I think like if those people, or like a John Wick, where it's like if those people existed in that world and were cyborgs, we'd get the same, you know, kind of result where they're these
I would definitely put her more towards
best
John
guy
Wick.
we ever trained. You know, that kind of a thing.
Far more
The reason why I'd put her more towards John Wick is just because of the fact that John McClane was already a cop, right? He was already a hero in his universe, and he's just doing the natural extension of what he would normally do. Say if he was a SWAT guy, he would be doing the exact same thing except with the team. You know what I mean? Whereas Alita was a bounty hunter, which is what John Wick was. Alita was a former she was a former soldier. She was a bounty hunter, and now she's someone who didn't necessarily choose to be heroic, but kind of ended up in that situation. You know what I mean? Kind of like John Wick did. And guess what? Her first big heroic, well, I guess her second big heroic action came from someone killing a dog. Same thing with John Wick. You know what I mean? I'll definitely put him in the same categori.
You know, we did a stream
open for a Humane Society commercial with Rosa Salazar and Keanu Reeves.
Or maybe put that little post-credit scene in there where the little dog jumps out of the box with a cyborg body. I wish they had put that in there. I think that would have, because some people didn't like they claim they didn't like the movie because why did you kill the dog? You know, I mean, come on, give me a break.
What
You know,
about
I mean,
like the 30 other people that also died?
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
and
My
there's
People
one
can
point.
thing
die
about
anytime,
that.
man.
My
So I was
point
reading-
exactly.
I was reading about, what was it? About 3 days ago, I was reading an article, and I was listening to, well, about a week ago, I was listening to, it's just a book on tape with Mike Rowe, but he was talking about how, in many cases, society actually values the life of a dog more so than the life of a person. And if you really want to see what kind of person somebody is, get their reaction to how would you treat it, how would they treat a dog or your dog or whatever, versus how would they treat or feel about a person.
Treat
But
both
he was
exceptionally well.
talking about the dog that the Russians sent up to outer space.
Yeah, Leica. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Treat everyone
And
well, man.
it's kinda
You know, one day
interesting.
dogs might
That's
rule
right.
the world somehow. You know, you never know where
I think
evolution
they
is going to
already
go.
do.
So how about we just
Yeah.
treat dogs well?
Yeah,
They almost
I
already
agree.
do, I think.
yeah, I agree.
I'm gonna just say this: if monkeys get even 1% smarter, we're screwed because that basically makes Spider-Man because they're 10 times stronger than us. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
gotta treat monkeys well too. You know, if a monkey just learns like 5 words, we're done for. Pat, this already started. You
Yeah,
know
that's
what I mean?
already beyond
Well-
my vocabulary.
well, we do have a numerical superiority on apes, so I don't know. That'd be the only thing that might save us.
Yeah, but they got several different species that could work together, and I think the chimps would run the whole show too. I think Planet of the Apes kind of got that right. You know, what I mean?
Dennis
'Cause they're the
Backy,
ones-
Planet of the Apes, is the future for.
Yeah.
It could happen because, like I said, if monkeys just think about it, you're a biologist, right? So 10,000 years from now, maybe a million years, if monkeys just got to look like equally as smart as us, I think that they would run the show because they're too strong. They'll just be like a bunch of Spider-Men.
And we
Right
would
now,
be
I'm
the-
having flashbacks to Hot Zone.
I've never.
You
heard
ever
that.
read that book?
never. No, I've never read that book.
Okay, it's about Ebola, an Ebola outbreak, and searching for the vaccine. And the two main characters work in a lab using chimpanzees infected with Ebola,
Yeah.
and
To me, that's 28
containing
days
that kind of
later.
an outbreak.
Yeah. Well, I know one thing. We did a stream on Radio Chaos a while back, whether Alita was a superhero, a hero, an anti-hero, or a rogue. And I think we came, Maxie, correct me if I'm wrong, you and Angelus, I think we came to the conclusion that she was a little bit of all of them, wasn't she? So,
Well, yeah.
Whatever the situation calls for.
yeah,
You
whatever.
can't pin her
that's right.
down too much.
Yeah. Which is another thing I like about the franchise itself, you know, the manga or the movie for that matter. You know, I mean, you know, the scene at the end of the movie where she kills Vector, she is very much manga Alita in that scene. Boy,
Oh,
I mean,
yes.
I love that, you know. Now, when I first saw the movie, I didn't know anything about the manga, but I did think, wow, this person, you know, changes throughout the movie. It's not like, say, you know, Superman, you know, he's always, you know, I mean, he may have his moments too, but he's always like good and stuff like that, you know. But, you know, here's Alita, you know, she basically kills an unarmed person, even though he is a criminal, you know, but she basically kills him. I mean, you know, so I thought, wow, that's, you know, that's not like a lot of movies you see, you know. So.
Here's food for thought for you. What if instead of Motorball, they had the pit fighting as they did in her division of Iron City? Because remember, Motorball was
that Coliseum?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
They had like two things going on. They had the Motorball and then that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Because
was-
Zariki was actually a competitor in the Coliseum, wasn't he? From what I remember, is that right?
Kanuba was as well.
Yeah, so was Kanuba. Yeah, that's right.
Zariki was actually the one with the big crab claws that was fighting with Kanuba.
Yeah.
And like, because it just got me thinking, you know, Ida was already freaking out when he saw Alita looking at the Motorball match.
Yeah.
Then, you know, half an hour later she's competing in one. Can you imagine if it was
Yeah.
pit fighting instead? Holy shit!
Yeah.
I guess that would have been a bit too violent for the PG rating, so that's probably why they
Yeah, I
went
think
with it.
so. Yeah. It was on the edge anyway, wasn't it?
They certainly skirted it.
Yeah, that's right. But anyway, this slide's for Angelus and I. We always got to say something about Alita Zulu. So, you know, that's the way it works.
One question, Greg. When you agreed to put this title, Alita looks good doing it. You mentioned the faces of Alita, or how pretty and nice she looks fighting in a Motorball Play.
Well, I kind of meant all of it. You know, I mean, that's what I mean when I say Alita looks good doing it. She does. You know, when she's fighting, you know, I mean, yeah, I think that's another thing I like about the character. Even though she looks good and stuff like that, she's a consummate fighter, you know. And yeah, I think that's, you know, this is just something I added as a kind of little bit of a joke, you know, not joke, but to, you know, maybe lighten things up a little, you know. But yeah, that's all it meant, Alejandro. So
yeah,
Okay.
I think she takes to it very naturally and just looks like she's where she needs to be.
Yeah, I particularly like Alita in the Berserker body. Now in the doll body, she's a little cute, but you know, she's like 14. So no, you know, but in a Berserker body, you know, I mean, she's a young woman, you know, I mean, there's no doubt about that. So, you know, and that's a little bit different, I think. It's kind of like that scene where Gerhard tells Doc Ito, you know, it looks like she's a little bit older than you thought, you know. Yeah. So, you know, but anyway, she looks good. You know, that's
and even she looks good when she's killing Vector in her office.
Oh yeah.
I think the face is very pretty, and this scene is very surprising. Checking the start of the film, we never thought that she's going to kill the man at the end of the film.
But she does, yeah.
It's very surprising. You say, "Wow, what happened here?"
yeah, that's right. It was totally surprising that, you know, she would run that sword through an unarmed person. You know, I went, whoa, you know, when I saw that the first time, you know, that.
I hate to say that goes back to anxiety, but that can go back to anxiety. You set somebody up for failure like that, and they figure it out. This is very much goes back to what happens when the quiet kid decides to stand up.
Yeah. Well, that's that karma thing that Maxie was talking about a while ago. Yeah.
Yep. It's like I only got sent out into the hall a couple times as a student, and all of those situations very closely mirrored psychologically what was shown in the film.
Yeah.
I may be the quiet, nice kid who gets pushed around all the time and doesn't really care, but at the same time, one of these times you're going to push too far, and I'm going to decide to stand up.
Yeah. Maxie, you were going to say something?
I was just going to say, karma's like that game from the old days. You had the bat with the rubber ball and the elastic.
Oh yeah.
And you know you can go tick, but if you take your eye off it,
yes,
you can wear the ball in the face.
That's right.
Kind of like that.
Yep, that's a great analogy.
You hit the ball too hard and you end up wearing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess
that
Lee
comes
Lemon
around goes around.
Yeah, well, Lee Lemon's got a split, but I promise Lee, one of these days we're going to have a Kansas bar thing after we get past all this freaking snow we have. You know, as we get into the spring a little bit where it's not going to snow, you know, because, you know, here, you know, like in Denver, it can snow one day and be, you know, 60 degrees the next day. So it's kind of weird weather in a lot of ways. But
personally, I'm just happy to be in double digits for temperatures.
Yeah, it gets cold up there where you are.
We've been in single digit. It was like -20. I don't know. That was, I think Monday morning was -20 going into work at like 6.
Yeah. which would be probably, gosh, I don't know what that would be in Celsius, -20. That's probably going to be like,
It's still cold.
it's probably like 10 degrees below in Celsius, maybe more than that even. I'm not sure. Well, it's 5.9 C. That's right. So anyway.
I guess for good comparison, water freezes at 32 degrees Fahrenheit, and he was at -20.
Yeah,
and -40 is
way
the
below
same.
freezing.
Yeah.
And -40 is the same in both scales.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yep. So
maybe it's
cold.
rough. Yeah, it's very cold. Yes. I remember, sometimes it's gotten cold like that here, especially one time. I remember one Christmas here was 25 below zero Fahrenheit. And it was, man, you walk outside and immediately your face stings.
Yeah. That's kind of how I knew getting out of the. That's kind of how I know getting out of the car. It's like, oh, it's below zero. That because I know that because my eyes are stinging.
And of course, I know
what my eyes freezing.
I know what Den's thinking right now. Why the hell do you people live in those temperatures? Because I'm down here in Florida.
Yeah, I really don't understand. It's like half of the U.S. is warm all the time, and it's like you can move here, right? But whatever. Hey, listen, I look outside my window when y'all are freezing, and I see 70. We don't even really get those either. I'm serious. I've been here for over a decade, and we've been good. I live on the coast.
Yeah. I think Pensacola gets freezing from time to time, but or it gets into the 20s. But
see, here's the thing: a lot of people don't think about. They think about weather like, whether or not we're gonna get a hurricane, or whether or not we're gonna get freezing weather. No, I think about fucking tornadoes. That's my worst fear.
Yes.
What are you gonna do about that? A hurricane gives you at least a couple days to prepare. A blizzard, okay, you can fucking salt your driveway and put chains on your car, on your tires. What do you do about a tornado? Like that just takes out a whole region of land that I would never move to for my entire life.
You're speaking my language now. That's what I do for a profession.
What? Not move to Tornado Alley?
No. Disaster recovery.
Okay. Yeah. My dad did.
Oh, really?
Stuff too.
And, and Dan, no, I'm not a spook.
Listen, you can do disaster recovery as a spook. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. That doesn't exclude you. It's just another job you do.
Jeez. Okay, I guess moving right along. Anyway, like say, this is for Angelus and I. So that one. Anyway, as a conclusion, I think we all agree that Alita has really great situational awareness, which is a kind of I guess that's innate in her, instinctive. You can tell just the way she played the game. And certainly this is an objective thing. She's a really fast skater, so which would be a requirement for the game. And she's extremely athletic, as a result of her berserker body, as a result of, just the training she has. And as a result, I guess Panzer Kuntz probably helps on this a little bit, being athletic. So you got to have that to be a good motorball player. And of course, as one facet of motorballs, you got to be able to fight. If you're a bad fighter, I mean, you can be fast in motorball, but if you're carrying that ball, kind of like what Maxie was saying a while ago, and you're not a good fighter and you get caught up with, you're done. You're going to lose the ball or whatever. So, you got to be a good fighter. And certainly she is very adaptive. She can improvise, to a certain, and, kind of do things under different situations. And she does it off the cuff, which is kind of interesting. That fearless thing, I think we debated that quite a bit. And I think I'm going to evolve on that one just a little bit. I think, she does have fear, but it doesn't appear to drastically affect her ability to do what she has to do. I mean, it's kind of something like she uses it, or like a tool, or like a means. That's right. It's a means to be able to get her through a situation. I think a dangerous situation. Think strategically, and of course on that one, I mean, she can, certainly she can plan out things. Sometimes you don't foresee everything, but she's really good at doing different tactics and using those tactics to achieve what she wants to achieve and that kind of thing. And of course, as we all agree, she looks good doing it. So anyway, that's the main thing. Now, here's what the Creaky thinks. I think your Creaky believes that in our sequel, when we get that thing, I think she's going to give Joshigan all he wants in a motorball
I am
match.
looking forward to that. That was the dialogue, the dynamic between those two in the manga was just incredible. So
yes.
I am really looking forward to that.
Yes, that's going to be great. And I hope they are somewhat true to the manga, like when she takes her heart out and says, you can take my heart, if I lose, so wow, that is going to be great. If they can maintain that kind of a thing in the sequel, we are in for a treat. That's for sure.
And if we can get Ken Jeong to play Teagle, I think we'll be in even better shape.
Who's this now? Teagle. I'm not sure I remember that.
The big giant turtle-looking tank guy.
Oh yeah.
I like that guy. He was all of us.
Right.
Teagle is us.
Yeah.
I think Ken Jeong would be perfect for that.
I need to read that manga again. Angelus, you and I need to start that little thing back up, I think. I think that was a lot of fun when we did that. So, anyway, the Creek thinks, oh yeah, our girl Alita, she is a super motorball player. Now, we don't know the extent yet because she's just the second league champion right now, But I think in the sequel, we are going to see, her evolve even more, which was another thing I loved about the movie. She evolves during the movie, But I think, she's going to get better at motorball, and I think she's going to really do well in the Champions League. But it's kind of like Maxie says in the manga, she doesn't really go into the Champions League. But I think in the movie, they're going to make her, I hope they make her and put her in the Champions League because we want to see that little conflict with Joshigan, so.
I think it'll be interesting to see a real game of Motorball 2 get played out. I think they'll do that at least once.
Yeah. Yeah, they got to, I think, just for the folks watching the movie, I mean, Motorball at this point, fans have seen, kind of shots of it and, and they can see its competitive thing and stuff like that. But this is kind of like something that we're going to see in the, Maxie, definitely, I'm ready on that one. Anyway, I think we're going to, we're going to see a really good, kind of an arc on that one, if you want to think of it in the movie between her and Joshigan. That's going to be, oh man, that's going to be great. So, and of course, the Creek wants more in a sequel. He wants a trilogy and he wants a series, and because I think they got to do the Zaban arc, they got to do the Badlands arc,
cinematic universe.
Yes, that's what we want. Absolutely.
Sounds good to me. Where do I sign?
Yes, sir. So anyway, that's pretty much it. I think we all agree Alita's a good motorball player. Now, I think we, kind of have varying, concepts of, where Alita is strongest and what factors into the different elements she has. But I think we all agree that she's a super motorball player. I mean, in that universe, even being the second league champion is pretty good. It's not a, it's nothing to take lightly, if you were a motorball player, and you see somebody that's a second league champion, if you're in the first league, you might say, yeah, second league's not much, but this person won the championship, so they have to take note, I think.
Oh yeah. I mean, I look at Motorball and I see I see remnants of NASCAR and rodeo almost combined into one.
Yeah,
definitely NASCAR. That was stated as one of the prime sort of themes that they were using.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Ice hockey, NASCAR, that sort of thing.
Well, let me ask each one of you this, and I'll start with Alejandro. Alejandro, do you think in the sequel, now this can be our opinions, it's okay. We don't have to base it on the manga or anything, but just on what we think would be in a sequel. Do you think Alita will become the final champion, or will she fall just short of that? What's your thought?
Well, it's a very, very hard question. I think she had the capability to do it and to get the champion, but maybe it's not the point for Alita. I think she has another plan. Maybe she has a very big universe of things, of the mission that she really has to find in herself.
Yeah.
But maybe she could, but I think it's not the principal mission for her life, for her development, to be herself. I think she's bigger than that.
Yeah, I think to your point too, she's basically playing Motorball to distract her from the fact that Hugo's gone. So I mean, that's it. So whether she sticks with it, we'll see. But okay, so we got one person saying she has the capability to do it, but leaving it an open question, which is okay. Maxie, what do you think?
Well, if I tell you that, then you'll know what's going to happen in my fanfic, won't you?
Oh, okay. Well, we can defer then. But you do.
You got another chapter coming out?
Oh yeah, we do. And the Greeks
Working
already
on
read
it.
all of them.
Working on it.
Okay.
I knew I felt a disturbance in the force.
No, that disturbance was me going na at Maxie after I finished the 10th chapter.
Yeah, he actually pounded through. I was expecting to have another couple of months yet.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, I read the 9th and 10th chapters in successive days, It was enjoyable, though. I really liked it a lot, So, okay, Maxie, well, we'll defer that, but you do agree that Alita is a superior Motorball player.
Well, yes, she's one of the top two.
You betcha. All right, Angelus, what do you think?
She's the... Sorry, just
it's all right.
Purging all the uwu effects.
Okay, so she's the best looking Motorball player out there.
Are you deciding with the big head or the little head there, Angel?
Both.
Yeah.
Well, I would like to say to all of you guys that it would very nice to read the novelization of the film. At the end of the book, it's a very nice conversation between Alita and Yashugan, and they respect each other very much. And that's it's very, very nice, these words of respect from the Yashugan to Alita and Alita to Yashugan. So I think opens a very wide moment that you're going to fight against each other in the future.
Hey, Cran.
Hey, Cran. All right. Anybody wants to join the after discussion, there's the link. It's in the chat. So, okay, Den, what do you think? Do you think Alita's going to be champion, final champion, or is she going to maybe fall short?
If the writing is going to, it doesn't have to necessarily be on beat for beat the same, but if it's going to mirror the tone of the manga, then she's going to fall just short.
Okay.
But if Final Champion is a way to lure people in for the tune, like as a recruiting program, then maybe she will be.
Yeah. Good point. Yeah, that whole tune program is a big part of this, isn't it? Okay, Just a Fan, what do you think?
I am genuinely hoping it follows the path of the manga in that she doesn't. And only because I just think, like you said, Creek, and it's pretty obvious in the manga, she's not there. She's not playing Motorball because she enjoys it. I mean, there's aspects of it I'm sure she enjoys, but she's there to prove something to herself, not so much to be a good Motorball player. You compare her to Yashugan, who is a diehard, he lives for Motorball.
Yeah.
You know, they're very different mindsets in that regard, but they share a lot of overlap, and that generates a huge respect between them.
Yeah.
And that dynamic, I think, really helped Alita grow. Like, that dynamic, I think, got her over or through Hugo's death.
Yeah.
So there's a big part of me that really is hoping to see that.
Yeah. So I think the consensus here is that Alita is going to maybe come in second place, I think, or just fall just short, like Den says. So, because I know I agree, I want it to follow the manga pretty closely, you know. But
I do agree with Alejandro. She is certainly more than capable of doing so.
Yes.
But like we said, I think she's got. I think what it is very much, you know, get the old saying right. Get your head in the game.
Yeah.
And I think by the end of it, I think her head is not going to be there because she will have gotten what she sought.
Yeah.
And fulfilled that arc. So.
Yeah, I think so too. I agree with that. Yeah. Okay, cool. So anyway, well, we kind of beat that thing up. We all agree. And I guess the one thing I guess I would ask, is there anything you think we missed? Anything at all? Any of you think? Yes, Alita does love her Uncle Creek.
Well, my personal opinion is that you can see in the movie that she loves Motorball.
Yeah.
She's just drawn to it, much like, because it's a combat sport and she's drawn to combat. So, of course,
Yeah.
she'd be drawn to that. But also, you know, from the manga perspective, she's doing it to also try and get flashbacks to find out more about her past.
Yeah.
She sees that as a way to challenge herself and get her brain sparking and learn more Panzerkunst techniques from her memory that's sealed off from her. So she's got lots of reasons to be there. But all the other Motorballers realize that when she says she's not going to hang around, like the fight against Jashigan will be my last race, and like Ajikuri's like, what the hell? But you're supposed to love the game. And she's going, no, I got other things to do. And he's like, are you kidding me? you
well,
one of us.
Yeah,
and I guess that's my point.
Yeah.
I guess that's my point, is she's got a ton of reasons to be there. There's a lot of overlap, but what's driving her isn't necessarily the pure thrill of Motorball. It's, I want to find out about my past. I want to reconcile the death of Hugo. I want to grow as a person, all these things. I want the thrill of a worthy opponent, the challenge that brings, all that kind of stuff. Like, that's what she's after. Not so much whereas that makes Motorball basically the means to that.
Yep.
So just, it's a as we were talking earlier, it is multifaceted. This is not clear cut. There are so many faces, so many ways, so many paths that are just intertwined together that make everything about this so beautiful.
Yes.
Very good point, Josaphan. Sure.
Yeah. Cool. All right, cool. So anyway, moving right along, I guess, Maxie, you want to talk about this, or you want me to, or what?
Hang on. Got to share.
All right. Okay.
There we go. I was working on that while we were talking.
Cool.
So tomorrow we are hitting episode 100. So triple figures, guys. The Radio Chaos has reached triple figures. So that's an awesome thing. Of course, 99 was awesome as well. That was last week.
Yep.
But this is Creaky's idea. He wants to compare Rollerball and Gumu and see what influences Rollerball had on the Motorball arc, which is what we were talking about today. So the Alita Army stream the Alita stream and the Radio Chaos stream are in sync this weekend. So
yeah,
it'll be a bit more of the same tomorrow, but Creaky will have his famous slideshow going, so that would be interesting.
Yeah, I think with this one, and no, Maxie, I didn't put together 99 slides.
They did 100 because it's episode 100, obviously.
Well, that's true too. I could have done 100, yeah. But no, we're gonna it's similar to this stream, but I mean that stream is also going to kind of look at the two sports, as opposed to just looking at Alita's abilities. It's gonna kind of look at the kind of differences and the similarities between the two and how that factored into, Gumu or Gunham or whatever you want to call it, Gun Dreams. That's what it's going to kind of do here, so that I'm looking forward to that a lot because Rollerball is one of my favorite movies. Below, I guess I would say Jeremiah Johnson and Once Upon a Time in the West. Rollerball is right up there, but certainly none of them are better than Alita Battle Angel. But there are some distinct similarities and there are some big differences. We're going to talk about that tomorrow at the stream. So, we'll go through those, kind of analyzing the game, the stadium, that they play in and how they're somewhat the same, somewhat different. And then we're going to have a little discussion on, how that factored into the, to the actual Alita Battle Angel movie and the Motorball thing and all that kind of stuff. Because I think Yukito Kishiro, the Rollerball made an impression on him. So,
have you got a section on corruption?
No, but we can certainly talk about it. Maybe if you want, I could add a slide or two. But
point in about corruption because I think it's important in both.
All right. Well, I'll add a slide or two on it because there is definitely that factors into both of these movies. By the way, because
hey, Cricky, I got to take off.
All right,
but,
Dan.
All right, man. I'm gonna DM you something. All right.
Okay, yeah, because Dan and I are going to do a waifu stream here in the not too distant future, and we're trying to get that together. So that's going to be fun too, I think.
Yeah, definitely. So good talking to all you guys, and I'll talk to y'all later. All right.
All right, Dan. We'll see you.
That's good. Talk to you later.
All right.
So anyway, this is going to be a fun stream. I think it's going to, kind of be, it's going to be an interesting discussion. And, folks, I encourage you guys highly to join it. Okay. Anyway, go ahead, Maxie. You were going to say something?
Nope. Wasn't me.
Oh, okay. I thought I heard you maybe say something. And of course, here's our queen. She's number one in the Creeks book in terms of being an actor, so she is Alita, so it's I think she's pretty cool. So, and it doesn't help that it doesn't hurt rather that she's cute. So anyway,
it's marvelous. It's marvelous.
You betcha. Yeah, she's beautiful actually. Yeah,
lovely.
Yes,
girl.
she is. Yes, she is. Okay, why is this image here? We all know that because the Creek is running the stream and he likes it. And of course, to paraphrase Gawishka, I'm only here for our girl. And I think all of us in the Elite Army would say we're only here for our girl and the Elite Army. Okay, I guess any last thoughts, guys? Anything you want to maybe kind of put out there before we do the call to action?
Yeah, can you send me that Rosa picture in the DM later?
You betcha. I can definitely do that. So.
All right, Roger.
Yep.
Well, I would like to say congratulations, gentlemen, for your great work. Alita Army is wonderful. It's a very great Motorball players with this battle for the sequel, I think.
Thanks for joining us, Alejandro. Like Creaky said, it doesn't matter whether you speak perfect English or broken English. As long as you love Alita, you're always welcome. Anyone is
betcha.
always welcome for those.
Although
Thank you very much.
I would say Alejandro's English is pretty good, actually.
Exactly.
So,
that's great to hear it from you, but I think it's because I love the English. I enjoy it very much, and I enjoy the film in English because I have memorized almost all the phrases because they are so beautiful. Very good screenplay.
have you
It's a
seen the
very good way
film?
to learn English.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, have you seen the movie in Spanish, Alejandro?
Yes, I sing in Spanish and I start singing in French too, but I don't like. I enjoyed it in English because the
Yeah.
voice of Rosa Salazar is marvelous. It's
Oh,
wonderful.
yeah, it is.
It's nothing compares with that. So for that reason, I have seen maybe 70 or 80 times that film, and I always enjoy it very much.
Yeah, I think I've only seen it like 50 times. So, that's kind of lightweight for most of you guys, I guess. So, yeah, Ash Blackwind's out there. Hello, Ash. How's it going? Yeah, rollerball. I tried to look at rollerball. I've seen rollerball probably 5 or 6 times, but over the years, and I tried to look that thing up on Amazon Prime, and it's not available on there. So I don't know. I'm not sure what streaming service it would be. I know it's not on Netflix because I looked on there too. So the only copy I have of it is VHS tape. So you can imagine how poor the quality is on that one. So, okay, guys, I guess we'll bring the stream to a close. And I guess on my count of 3, we're going to do the call to action. And that's going to be 1, 2, 3.
Film those sequels,
baby.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. Bye
You
bye.
betcha. And we'll see you tomorrow on the Radio Chaos stream. And good day and good night, depending on where you are.